Hello. Welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. If you want more content, you can follow me on Patreon. I will be uploading more content on there that will be exclusive. The link is in the description. Please support me. 4SW076. Failed Demon Slaying Operation. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Escaped. As one of the core members of CPO with comparable strength to Admiral, he decided to escape decisively. Space System Fruit ability users are really troublesome. Seeing that it appeared on the sea far away this time, Bai Ye murmured, "But, do you think it's really that easy to escape?" The hands bathed in the pure flame suddenly slammed into each other and lifted upwards. In an instant, 10 fireballs with a dangerous atmosphere began to expand at a speed visible to the naked eye as the surrounding high temperature faintly and continuously gathered. In an instant, the volume of this dangerous fireball far surpassed Bai Ye himself. In the next second, the fireball with a dangerous aura-reaching ultimate was suddenly thrown into the sea area where the CP-067-0 man was. The terrible high temperature swept across, and the sea couldn't help boiling. The man gave up his arm and saw the inflated fireball. He was about to say how such an attack could hit him, but his face changed in the next second. The high temperature of this fireball is enough to ignite the sea. He immediately realized what Bai Ye was thinking. His fruit ability is troublesome, so, how about igniting all the seas in sight? Burn everything. Fire Dragon Slaying Magic, the Fire Dragon's brilliant flame. The entire sea area was almost completely ignited, and it turned into a sea of flames, rising like a tsunami of flames. Under this ultimate flame, everything was reduced to ashes. Advertisement. This is what Chitra Wolf looks like now, with its surroundings. After this battle, this place will be completely erased from the aftermath of the battle, disappearing from the map of this world. Subsequently, when covering everything and turning to ashes, the flame has weakened momentum. It means that Akainu's so-called demon-slaying operation has completely failed. The current new Marine Marshal, plus Marine Admiral, CPO, 50 super giant marine warships, Vice Admiral, several Admiral alternates, etc. With such a huge force, it is impossible to wipe out just one person. It is conceivable that this news will cause a huge shock in the world. On the melting ruins of Chitra Wolf, Bai Ye looked at the entire ignited sea, and slowly withdrew his gaze. Unexpectedly, he ran away like this. As a CPO comparable to Marine Admiral, he is also one of the core members of the CPO. Bai Ye could feel that the opponent was not weak, but he didn't expect the opponent to run away completely. Facing this kind of demon fruit power involving spatial ability, it is extremely difficult for him to keep the opponent. But even so, under the flames, the new CPO ship has been reduced to ashes. In addition, Akainu encountered the fire dragons Wangyan at the last moment. Bai Ye predicted that even if he could barely recover, he would have to lie down for at least a few months or even a year. Unfortunately, my strength is still not enough. Thinking of the background revealed by the world government today, Bai Ye took a look at the progress of the dragon-slaying magic in the sky. Advertisement. 11%. It's okay, although the Sky Dragon Slayer magic is hardly used in the battle, but the combat plus the stable weather of East Blue, the proficiency rate of the UNMT Dragon Slayer magic is definitely much faster than that of New World. Now Bai Ye is suddenly looking forward to the strength after he fully masters the Sky Dragon Slaying magic. At that time, will his system unlock a new dragon slaying power? Or, is it possible to have other power systems from other worlds? Forget it, we will know when the time comes. Thinking of this, Bai Ye shook his head. For me now, the most important thing is to grasp the magic of Dragon Slayer in the sky. Immediately, Bai Ye looked at Robin, who was shocked by his whisper. Robin, the strength is still not enough. She is the one who witnessed Bai Ye's true strength bursting out with her own eyes. One person can make the world government give up the terrifying power of killing demons. Bai Ye is not satisfied. 0.010915123330 Philu 202,243,421. This is a real monster. Robin couldn't help but come to a conclusion in his heart. 7 years ago, she thought it was really lucky, but she never thought that the Bai Ye she met at that time was a super boss with deep secrets. Immediately, Robin heard Bai Ye asking her next plan. Robin pondered for a while, and looked at the completely melted ruins that accompanied Bai Ye to put away the flames. She decided to follow Bai Ye first. There is currently no news about the Straw Hat Pirates. Advertisement. In addition, her identity is very sensitive. After this battle, there is a high probability that the world government will consider her as Bai Ye's accomplice. In this way, in East Blue, where marine forces are everywhere, stay with this man who has no ill intentions towards her. It's obviously safer to be around. Most importantly, at present, the ships here are almost completely reduced to ashes, and everything here is melted. With her alone, Robin couldn't even get out of here. Okay, please. Bai Ye took the flames into his body and said. Robin looked at Bai Ye's outstretched arm, opened his thin lips, hesitated for a moment, and moved forward proactively. Mr. Bai Ye, are you 4.2 like this for ladies? I only do this to the ladies I like. Robin. However, there is no boat here, and it seems that this is the only way to leave. Thereafter, when Bai Ye left Chitra Wolf, what's going on here is clearly not going to calm the whole world. After all, once the demon-slaying operation started, it would be extremely difficult to keep the forces of this world from knowing about such a big movement at naval headquarters. What's more, Akainu didn't hide from the beginning. As a result, this led to the result of the demon-slaying operation causing a sensation in the entire world in a short period of time. 077. Shocks around the world, major events sweeping the world. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Marine's new marshal is seriously injured. 50 super-large marine warships lost more than 3/4. The casualties were numerous. Members of the world government CPO are suspected of collapsing. The target of the massacre operation was only one person, and all of them failed. These news spread throughout the world the next day after Chitra Wolf completely disappeared from the map. Although the world government was furious and tried to block the news. But Akainu made too much noise this time. It is impossible to completely block the news. Even if the world government sent manpower to order the World Economic News newspaper. Don't forget, another identity of Morgan's is one of the 5 kings of the underground dark world. According to cryptic information from the world government, Morgan's mysteriously disappeared after knocking down the world government personnel. Immediately afterwards, these news were continuously released by the World Economic News. In a short moment, the news spread to the 4 seas, the Grand Line, and even the New World, etc. through newspapers all over the world. World government. Morgan's that bastard. Defying the orders of the world government. The 5 elders gather here. The 5 looked at the core member of the CPO who had fought against Bai Ye earlier. I saw that the man had lost an arm at this time, and had burns all over his body. Obviously, even though he activated his ability in the end, his ability did not make him immune to the high temperature that ignited the sea. After a day of training, he can report the situation normally. Sir, do you want me to solve it? The man felt the wrath of the 5 elders and spoke. The bald 5 elders shook his head, and said lightly, Morgan's is very troublesome. If that guy wants to hide, it will be difficult for you to find him. Besides, compared to these things, how is Akainu? This, my lord, Akainu is currently seriously injured, and I'm afraid it will take at least a year of recuperation to fully recover. 1 year. The blonde 5 elders snorted coldly. Advertisement. That damned guy, who didn't obey our orders, is suffering now. However, as a lava fruit ability user, he will also be burned, which means that the man's ability is still higher than Akainu, right? Yeah, the CPO man nodded solemnly, and then, he was about to speak out about Kizaru's previous guess, when another 5 elders interrupted him. This incident, which was at the heart of the 5 elders meeting, was the reason why the action was cancelled. Marine was dispatched after Akainu, and the former Marine Admiral Zephyr took this opportunity to betray Marine. He established a new Marine NEO, calling himself Z. Although the news of this matter was blocked immediately, and the news was completely blocked because of Akainu's stupid actions, but after Akainu, Zephyr's actions have already made the world government feel a sense of crisis. So they got the news that Akainu's operation was about to fail at the first time, and sent people to let Akainu return, preparing to really suppress this trouble. Unexpectedly, Akainu brought them even worse news. In this way, whether it is to deal with those guys who are not good to the world government, or Bai Ye who is a threat to the world government, and who betrays the marine law, etc. All plans of the world government have to be postponed. The core purpose of today's purpose. It is for the great conscription of the world. For the stability of the world government, after this meeting, Akainu was given a strict order not to trigger. Immediately afterwards, during the restoration of Akainu, former Marshal Sengoku temporarily replaced Marshal Marine and so on. By the way, my lord, the devil's reward. Increased to 3 billion Pele. Yes, my lord. At the same time, New World. 4 Emperor's Pirates. Boss Kaido, Marine has dispatched so many troops but failed to encircle and suppress him. That guy seems to be a huge threat to our pirate group. Ghost Island, the first of the 3 disasters who opened his mouth, Jin. The faction of New World has always been balanced by 4 emperors. Although Bai Ye was previously hailed as the doomed emperor of the sea in the new era, Kaido and others actually didn't take it seriously at first. Because the power of the New World is not so easily broken. What's more, Bai Ye is still alone and has no territory of his own. Advertisement. But after this sensational world news, the New World has been completely shaken. Even if no one speaks, anyone can feel that the future era is about to change. A new king is destined to be inevitable. Don't worry, compared to our Kaido pirates, Lousy believes that the old lady Linlin is more anxious than Lousy. Master Kaido. Why is that? Googling. Kaido drank his drink, wiped the corners of his mouth and said, that old woman of Linlin had a general under her command who died at the hands of this kid. If you want to do something, the old woman of Linlin is comparable to Lousy Hall. After speaking, Kaido ignored the shocked Jin and continued to drink. Linlin. Make Kaido pronounce the name. Undoubtedly only one of the 4 emperors, Charlotte 00, the captain of the BIGMOMO pirates. But if Kaido didn't say this, Jin wouldn't know that there was such a thing. Immediately, Jin understood Master Kaido's plan. Charlotte Linlin is a very vengeful person. Even if there is no news from the BIGMOM pirates, it will never be so silent. While Jin was thinking, a Beast's pirate subordinate ran in panic. Brought news that shocked Jin. The BIGMOM pirates intend to form an alliance with the Beast's pirates. No wonder Jin was so shocked. A join-up between these two four Emperor's pirate groups. This kind of thing has never happened before, and once it happens, it is bound to completely overturn the balance of this sea. Soon, the news that the four Emperor's pirates teamed up undoubtedly exacerbated the world shock. Similarly, as soon as the news of the alliance between Beast's pirates and BIGMOM pirates came out, countless shocked forces immediately asked about the unusual taste. They started to follow suit one after another, in order to seek opportunities for self-protection in this storm. The Whitebeard Pirates. Advertisement. Gu la la la. You are indeed Bai Ye boy. Whitebeard couldn't help laughing when he saw the news from World Economic News. This time the demon-slaying operation, Marine, and even the world government were involved, but it failed. The influence of the world government this time has been greatly reduced. The world government is having a hard time, and Whitebeard is naturally happy to see it. Moreover, this news also means that the man is safe and sound. Hey, it is indeed Big Brother Bai Ye. Strange. That woman. Could it be Big Brother Bai Ye's woman? Just when Marco and others of the Whitebeard pirate group were admiring, Wabel saw the official news released by the 523 world government, claiming that this operation is actually to exterminate the son of the devil, even if no one believes it. Therefore, when Bai Ye's reward was increased to 3 billion berries, Robin's reward as an accomplice was also increased by 120 million. It's just that compared to Bai Ye's bounty and deeds that are overwhelming everyone's hearts, many people ignore this matter. Let me see, how long has that kid been away, and he found a woman he likes. He is indeed Bai Ye. Hearing this, Whitebeard looked like some kind of old man who had seen the strange 8 trigrams, and couldn't help but scroll down. If Bai Ye were here, he couldn't help but roll his eyes. Whitebeard, as a madman who adopts a son, doesn't even know if a real heir is useful, so why care about him so much? Thereafter, Bai Ye is here. Bai Ye suddenly couldn't help but sneezed first, followed by a strange feeling. A strange look appeared on Bai Ye's face. It has reached his level of strength. I am very sensitive to the feeling of being missed, but what is the situation of this feeling of being missed and numb? When Bai Ye thought of this, Robin also felt a sudden hostility. But neither Robin nor Bai Ye. I didn't expect it to be located on Nine Snake Island. Known as the most beautiful woman in the world, Hancock's attention is not on what Bai Ye has done, but, well, the attention is completely on Robin behind the newspaper. This woman, Hancock accidentally crushed the newspaper with her fingertips. She wanted to know what kind of relationship this woman had with Master Bai Ye. 078. Bai Ye's threat. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. At the same time, Bai Ye and Robin came to a town. The purpose of coming here is simple. Buy some wine and change Robin's clothes. Robin is still wearing Chitra Wolf's prison uniform. Even if Bai Ye lent the clothes to Robin, anyway, clothes are indispensable, not to mention that Bai Ye can't wear one kind of clothes for a long time. After Chitra Wolf's battle, Bai Ye's clothes are almost broken. Later, when Bai Ye and Robin left town, Bai Ye and Robin have taken on a new look. Robin wore sunglasses and a lady's hat on her face, and she was holding the latest news released by the World Economic News this morning. When he saw Bai Ye's reward of 3 billion Baileys, Robin couldn't help being shocked again. 3 billion Baileys. Although she knew that the identity of Bai Ye beside her was not simple. But what did he do to offer such a terrifying number? Even killing the celestial dragons isn't possible, is it? No. Thinking of this thought, Robin couldn't help but look at Bai Ye. She was silent. If it was this man, he might not care about the life and death of celestial dragons. And judging from recent news, during the time she came to Chitra Wolf, many unknown things happened in the whole world. And the root cause of these incidents is very likely to be the man beside her. Later, when Robin saw that the world government announced that the real purpose of Akainu's actions was actually because of her, and raised her bounty to 320 million, Robin's face became unstable. Wrong. Advertisement. Although she knew that the world government might consider her an accomplice, she never expected that the world government would even use such a fake excuse to save face. But looking at the news in hand, Robin also understood the intention of world government. Anyone with a discerning eye will know this kind of news, let alone New World. But New World is known as the paradise of pirates. What the world government really needs is the stability of the four seas is enough. Because it doesn't matter how false the news is, as long as someone believes it, that's enough, especially ordinary people who blindly believe in the world government. In the eyes of these ordinary people, the official news is far more real than the false news. To achieve this goal, it is enough for the world government. Thereafter, Robin continued to look at the news about Bai Ye above. When she saw what Bai Ye had done recently, she was a little dumbfounded. Put an end to the demons of Summit War. The sea monster destined for the new era. Seriously wounded marine hero Garp. And kill the celestial dragons. After reading the news gradually, she couldn't help but look at Bai Ye. What? Is there something on my face that attracts you? Bai Ye laughed. Robin. Robin stretched out his hand to lift his hair, and continued with a helpless smile. It seems that many things have happened in this world in recent months. I need to calm down, and where is Mr. Bai Ye planning to go next? When she saw that she was currently offered a reward of 320 million, even if this number was due to the increase in the confidence of the event due to the increase in the world government. She can also guess that there will be many people staring at her in the future. In this way, at present, it is undoubtedly the safest only to stay with Bai Ye. Advertisement. In other words, after this report, she has no second choice for the time being. In addition, Robin also wants to improve his strength. After seeing Bai Ye's ability to manipulate the wind to create wings, she had a new idea for the development of flower fruit. But an idea is an idea after all, and it takes time to practice. During this period of staying with this man, she wants to become as strong as possible, especially after witnessing the battle of Chitra Wolf. Robin realized many shortcomings. Immediately, Bai Ye's answer made Robin stunned. Bai Ye came to East Blue for a temporary trip. If she doesn't mind, I can lead the way. In other words, she temporarily became a navigator for where to go. And the next destination. It's actually the town of Rog. It is also the place where One Piece was executed. Rog Town. This is a request from a friend. Let me go and see someone on his behalf. People. Roger. One Piece Roger. Well, that's right. Although I'm not interested in him personally, this is a memorial ceremony for a friend. Bai Ye nodded and shook the wine in his hand. Robin opened his thin lips, but held back what he wanted to say. After making such a sensational event in the world, they still plan to blatantly go to Marine's sphere of influence. Advertisement. Bai Ye is probably the only one with this relaxed attitude. But thinking of that terrifying strength, indeed, Bai Ye has such confidence. And Robin thought about the end of the group of pirates he met just now. I am afraid that after East Blue and Marine suffered such a huge loss, they will not easily organize operations of the same scale as before. That's when Bai Ye decided where to go. At the same time, the Marine government is constantly shaking here. Akainu was seriously injured, and the operation of killing demons suffered heavy losses. These news are undoubtedly extremely heavy. And most importantly, nothing more than the betrayal of Marine by the predecessor Admiral Zephyr. This brought Marine's situation to a point where Marine's morale had been extremely low since the opening of the Great Pirate Era. Faced with this situation, Marine's senior executives who had previously disapproved of Akainu showed seriousness. Even if Marshal Sengoku is acting as Marshal Qianhao again, Marine may take longer to recover in the face of this loss. Therefore, when the world government issued the expansion of the World Conscription Plan, all Marines couldn't help but place their hopes on this World Conscription Plan. Marine's strength needs to be replenished. It's best to have enough combat power to make up for it. That's what all Marine executives are thinking at the moment. And Kizaru's guess is only clear to Marine's top management. That demon seems to have 4 Logia Devil Fruit abilities. Regarding the degree of danger of Bai Ye, the current Marine alert standard has risen to a level beyond the threat of a single 4 Emperors pirate group. Although Marine's top management didn't want to admit it, they had to admit it after hearing the report from Momoshiki Kizaru and others. Bai Ye's level of threat, this is a person, can have monsters that surpass the threat of a single 4 Emperors pirate group. 079. 3 months, capital of 7 waters, easy way to pass. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Afterwards, the whole world started from the Summit War, and then after the Chitra Wolf Marine slaying event. Since the beginning of the Age of Discovery, the entire world has experienced unprecedented turmoil. The first month following the events of Operation Chitra Wolf, the world government and the Marine government began to announce the expansion of the World Conscription Plan. And the scope of this conscription and the Grand Line include the entire New World. All monsters with strong combat power among the people can participate in this conscription, and they will be reviewed one by the acting Marine Marshal Sengoku. The emergence of this message intensified the turmoil of countless forces in the New World. Everyone has heard the news that the world government is starting to worry. Immediately afterwards, the Big Mom Pirates declared an alliance with the division, Beasts Pirates. This is the first event in which the 4 emperors announced an alliance since the founding of the Age of Discovery. The emergence of this alliance undoubtedly shocked the entire New World again, and the world sent a CPO to block the news because of the world government, and only a very small number of forces got this shocking news. A single 4 emperors in New World, known as Pirate Paradise, is no different from the Sea Emperors who rule New World. The 4 emperors are also in a situation of mutual containment, so now that the 4 emperors suddenly announce their alliance, it will undoubtedly completely break the situation in New World. In other words, when a gossip was due to the demons of Summit War, someone in the regiment reacted. If this alliance is to deal with the birth of a new Sea Emperor, it is also normal. Moreover, according to the gossip, the Big Mom C907 bandit group seems to have some issues with this new age demon. Then, follow closely. In the second month, there was another shocking news that could not be concealed. The former Marine Admiral Zephyr actually judged Marine and established the new Marine faction of ENC. Advertisement. This incident is reminiscent of the fact that after the failure of the Demon Slaughter operation, the world government announced the expansion of the conscription plan, and it undoubtedly seemed that everything was connected at once. At this moment, no one doubts that this world will definitely usher in a huge change. Everything that happened at this time seemed to be a harbinger of the coming storm. At the same time, those who actually caused or indirectly caused these turmoil have already left Rogue Town. It doesn't take much time to pay homage to former friends, not to mention that Bai Ye doesn't have much interest in Roger. If Roger is really alive, Bai Ye probably thinks the only value is that he wants to fight Roger. That's all. This moment. This is my 3rd month at East Blue. Bai Ye is coming to the capital of Seven Waters this time. The purpose is naturally to build a ship, although grabbing a boat is a very convenient thing. However, the overall strength of East Blue's pirates is too weak, and a bounty of more than 10 million is equivalent to a big pirate, which leads to uneven quality of ships. Some boats still have to be operated by multiple people, which leads to many small problems along the way, and water leakage is common. Although traveling to the world of pirates, Bai Ye thinks it is a good thing. However, due to the limitations of this world's era, many things are not as developed as the things Bai Ye saw before he traveled over. Boats are one of them. Most of the ships in this world are sailing ships, that is, ships that rely on their ability to sail. Otherwise, Calm Belt would not be known as the Dead Sea in this world. Therefore, Bai Ye's idea is simple. Advertisement. Just get a semi-automatic boat. As a time traveler and someone who has read the original book, Bai Ye knows where this kind of boat can be made. The sea city of Seven Waters is one of the few places in the whole world that has this kind of technology. Ships from the capital of Seven Waters enter the port here. A small and medium-sized ship sailed slowly under the seagulls passing by the blue. On the deck of this ship, there are 2 figures, Bai Ye and Robin. A lot of things have happened in this world recently, and you don't seem to be interested. Robin closed a book, turned his face away, his blue eyes couldn't help looking at Bai Ye. While speaking, the flower fruit ability was activated, and a snow-white arm emerged from the deck next to Bai Ye, handing over a copy of this morning's newspaper. The papers were blatantly telling that the conscription program had already filled the Marine Admiral position with a monster. Fujitora smiles. If Fujitora joins Marine, there should be another one. Bai Ye glanced at the newspaper, and said with a smile as if he knew these things a long time ago. Another person. Robin opened the newspaper next to him, but didn't find any news about the other person Bai Ye was talking about. Seeing that Robin was really looking for him, Bai Ye pretended to think about it and said, according to my understanding, this new Marine Admiral has a friend who is very capable. If Fujitora has already joined the Marine, then the other person should not have joined the Marine. It's coming soon. Is it very strong? Robin's eyes showed a trace of concern. Probably has the level of Admiral's strength. Daba. Bai Ye thought of the green bull that was originally planned to fill the vacancy of Admiral in the future. Although Bai Ye had never made a shot before crossing, as one of the newly added admirals, it is impossible to have no strength. And these 2 people were almost unknown before becoming admiral, so there are still many unknown folk masters hidden in this world. Bai Ye has never underestimated this world even though he possesses dragon-slaying magic since time travel. Quote. Admiral. Robin suppressed the ups and downs in his heart, then couldn't help but look at Bai Ye. She asked with a smile, is this also one of the mysterious news? It's not surprising that Robin would ask this question. In the past 3 months, Bai Ye has never shown any surprise no matter what major event he faced. If she didn't know that Bai Ye is very mysterious, she might have wondered if the man in front of her had some kind of devil fruit ability to know the future. Since getting along during this time, and Bai Ye has not hidden anything, so she understands that Bai Ye is an ability user with many abilities, mysterious flames, controlling lightning, and poison, plus that kind of wind the power of. Advertisement. Robin clearly realized that the man in front of her had many mysteries that she didn't know about. As a scholar, even if she knew about it, she would think that everyone in the world has their own secrets. Robin every time Song Yan attributes these to mysterious sources. Sure enough, Bai Ye nodded his head as a matter of course, and said, that's right. Robin. As expected, with his fingertips on his chin and his arms propped up against the edge of the boat, Robin was full of curiosity. But she knew that everyone had their own secrets, so she showed a faint smile and didn't ask more questions. Instead, he turned to look at the capital of Seven Waters. This place can be regarded as the place where all her changes began, and Bai Ye's coming here this time is also a kind of memory for her. Bai Ye sees that Robin doesn't ask questions anymore, although he doesn't care about some things, but Robin's character is very comfortable, which Bai Ye likes very much. This is why Bai Ye planned to take Robin with him in Chitra Wolf. Compared with the trip during this period of time to improve the progress of the dragon-slaying magic in the sky, a woman who likes to ask questions and want to ask people to the end is far more likable than Robin. Who wouldn't like such a woman, coupled with the intellectual temperament exuding from Robin, as well as her already very good figure and appearance? Moreover, Robin also understands that only when Bai Ye is really free, she will simply ask for advice on the development of her own devil fruit ability, and then try to make up for the lack of ability. See why most people prefer Robin. In other words, Robin herself is a very attractive woman. Thereafter, Bai Ye raised his head and looked forward, seeing that the capital of Seven Waters needed to go in for investigation. Bai Ye went forward to negotiate briefly. Probably because Bai Ye did not hide his identity, and when the prosecutor of the capital of Seven Waters saw Bai Ye, his face changed 720 degrees repeatedly, and he squatted on the ground as if he had never seen Bai Ye before. Also let go. It's really easy to get around. When Robin saw this scene, he couldn't help showing a little surprise. Most of the other pirates with reward orders came in to hide their identities. However, probably only the man in front of me used such a simple and rude method. 080. Bai Ye's request. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The capital of Seven Waters. This is a water city located on the Blue Sea. The city as a whole is like a huge layered fountain, with layers of water left behind, and many channels for ships to pass through. Aren't you afraid of revealing your identity? On a ship, Robin looked at the familiar capital of Seven Waters. Although she had already entered, she still had a dreamy feeling. Bai Ye smiled and said, "Didn't you see it just now? If no one has seen us, do you need to worry?" Bai Ye said simply, "Actually, the reason is very simple. Although this city is under the jurisdiction of the Marine, the people who really control it are the people living here. If they pass my news to the Marine government, you should be able to imagine what will happen. What is the result? Maybe there will be destruction here because of the battle." Robin thought for a moment, thinking of Chitra Wolf, and she realized a terrible result. Bai Ye said, "Yes, but not entirely. Previously, the Marine government was originally located on the Grand Line, which was very close to here, but now the Marine government has been transferred to New World. In fact, before Marine came here, I had the strength to destroy this place. Plus this is a relatively stable place on the surface. What most ordinary people want is a peaceful life. Calm life." Robin looked down at her thoughtfully. That's right, who in this world doesn't want to have a peaceful life, and she once yearned for it, so it's natural for these ordinary people in the era of great pirates. In fact, Bai Ye still has a problem that he didn't say. Even at the level of rewards offered by Bai Ye, there is actually no need to hide his identity at all. The reality is, if you're just a low threat, even normal people will be eyeing your bounty. Robin was like this back then. A little girl with almost no strength had a reward of up to 80 million Baileys. Even the kindest person would be tempted by the temptation of a huge reward. This is the nature of most people. Advertisement. As for Bai Ye, which is enough to threaten the times, not to mention that Bai Ye offers a reward of 3 billion Baileys, even if it is changed to 10 billion Baileys, it may not necessarily be that someone dares to do it in this way. Unless he met a pirate who really didn't have any knowledge, if he wanted to die, Bai Ye would naturally not stop him. These situations are just the truest portrayal of this world. That's why Bai Ye wants to master Tianlong magic as soon as possible. For this world, as long as you are strong enough to subvert any power, any conspiracy means are worthless. This principle is actually the same in any world. Our destination has arrived. While Robin was thinking, Bai Ye's words pulled Robin back from thinking. She put down the newspaper in her hand, raised her head and looked at the unknowing destination. She found out that this is the iceberg's shipyard, and she understood what day and night thought. Then Bai Ye came to Bingshan's office and formalized her guess. Bai Ye is here to build a boat. The boat I want is essentially as long as you have the materials you have, at least enough during my time in East Blue. Here in Bingshan's office, Bai Ye looked at the capital of Seven Waters outside, and unhurriedly expressed his request to Bingshan, a person who had appeared in the original book. When Bingshan saw Bai Ye at this time, Bingshan's face was very serious. Obviously, after the summit war half a year ago and the recent news, Bingshan is very familiar with Bai Ye. To be honest, Bingshan was taken aback at first, that such an existence would come to the capital of Seven Waters. But after hearing that Bai Ye was just building a boat, he was relieved a lot. Bingshan is not an uninformed person, although Bai Ye is advertised as a devil in the world, but Bingshan is very aware of such existence. Generally he will not easily think about them, he just needs to meet the requirements of the other party. Advertisement. Moreover, he also knew Nico Robin, which made Bingshan feel at ease. Although he doesn't know Bai Ye well, it's enough that Bai Ye is definitely not as brutal as Marine advertises. Okay, Mr. Bai Ye. Bingshan nodded, keeping Bai Ye's request in his heart, and after hearing all the novel ideas of Bai Ye about the ship, Bingshan was shocked. There are theoretical knowledge about the ship that he does not know. If it is not because of Bai Ye's terrifying strength, Bingshan can't help but want to ask him for advice. Thereafter, Iceberg's shipyard here, close to the outside. You seem to know a lot about ships. It's not that I understand, I should just have a vague concept and theory about ships. Conceptual theory. Robin was slightly taken aback, and couldn't help laughing. If it is a theory that shocks everyone in the shipyard, it would be too modest. Robin clearly saw Bingshan's eagerness to ask for advice, and if Bai Ye's idea just spread out, Robin had a hunch that it would definitely set off a wave of ship reform. Of course, since the person who customized the boat is Bai Ye, maybe such a boat can only exist in this one. Then I'll take it as a compliment. Bai Ye nodded. As a time traveler, he really doesn't know much about ships, but he has watched quite a few movies. Although the ship in it is based on the idea of Bai Ye, it is indeed a dimensionality reduction blow to this era. Up. Point 0 for flowers. Immediately, just as Bai Ye had confirmed that the ship would take 3 days to build, and was planning to visit the capital of 7 waters, a woman from the shipyard ran over. Mr. Bai Ye, Mr. Bingshan asked me to tell you that because of your thoughts, the shipyard did not collect your Bailey this time, so please take back Bailey. Bailey. Just treat it as a reward for building a ship, don't give it to me. Advertisement. Seeing this woman, Bai Ye thought that he had obtained hundreds of millions of Baileys from some pirate ships during this period, and it would be troublesome for him to carry it himself, so he said. Unexpectedly, when the woman saw Bai Ye's refusal, she turned her head to look at Robin, and said hastily, then please, ma'am, please accept it for your husband. This is Mr. Bingshan's request. If it cannot be completed, my work it will be lost too. Point 0. After finishing speaking, the woman gave Robin a similar savings card unique to the capital of 7 waters while Robin opened her thin lips, and she was stunned in place. The woman smiled and ran away. This time it was Bai Ye, and he also saw that Robin was stunned for a few seconds before he came back to his senses. She looked at Bai Ye, and Bai Ye touched his chin, but said, it seems that we are a good match in the eyes of others. It was only then that Robin came back to her senses, and when she heard Bai Ye's words, a slight blush subconsciously appeared on her face, and she then looked at the back of the woman who ran away. Soon Robin adjusted, and she knew that these Baileys might not go back. Thinking of this, Robin turned his head and saw Bai Ye who was looking at her, and asked with a dark smile, by the way, I can ask Mr. Bai Ye if you want to choose which one you prefer as a woman. Bai Ye seemed to be thinking, and smiled. If I say that I like many kinds, can I accept it? When Robin heard this answer, she was stunned for a moment, then she smiled helplessly, looked at Bai Ye with blue eyes and said, it really fits Mr. Bai Ye's gentlemanly style to be able to answer like this to a lady. Robin spoke, biting the word, gentleman, very clearly. Knowing Robin's sometimes black-bellied personality, Bai Ye continued with a smile and said, but, let me tell you which one you like the most. Robin couldn't help but pay attention, and seemed curious about the 8 trigrams question. But Bai Ye's next words let Robin know that she shouldn't ask this question. The reason is simple, although she doesn't know if it's a joke, she seems to be forgetting that in a sense no matter what Bai Ye does, she can't resist. 081. Dark Mouse, Stupid Plan. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The capital of 7 waters. 3 days passed in a flash. Soon it will be the time agreed with Bingshan. At this time, Bai Ye and Robin are in a bar. Bai Ye has a unique interest in the wine of this world since time travel, otherwise he would not have become drinking friends with Whitebeard. Now that we have come to the capital of 7 waters, besides taking a look at the beautiful scenery of the capital of 7 waters, it is natural to taste the most famous local wine. Bai Ye reached out and handed Robin a glass of sweet wine for women, while he himself tasted the most famous local wine in the capital of 7 waters. Sure enough, after a few glasses of wine, in fact, wine in this world is like a ship. Due to the conditions of the times, most of the alcohol is not high. In addition to its own unique flavor, in Bai Ye's personal opinion, the basic 3 sevens are not much different. However, considering that this is not the new world, many wines are brewed based on the premise of ordinary people, which is actually quite normal. In addition, Bai Ye reckoned that another batch of rats should come out as well. This batch of rats appeared on the second day after Bai Ye came to the capital of 7 waters. After all, Bai Ye did not hide his identity. Even if the prosecutor of the city of 7 waters could pretend that he had never seen Bai Ye, the city of 7 waters, as a water city located within the Grand Line, is actually a place where many forces are intertwined. As one of the largest shipyards in the world, whether it is marine, pirates, or some underground dark world forces, it is no exaggeration to say that a quarter of the ships in the entire world can be related to the capital of 7 waters. Advertisement. This is not to mention that the ship of One Piece Roger is also built in the capital of 7 waters, which has a great reputation. As a result, even though there are no traces on the surface of many forces, there are many commissions related to ships in private. This is why Bingshan can quickly calm down and accept this commission even after seeing Bai Ye himself. Therefore, after Bai Ye's news was quietly passed on the next day, Bai Ye discovered that there were many rats. Of course, Bai Ye didn't pay much attention to these mice. If he didn't come to make trouble, Bai Ye would pretend he didn't see him. If he came to die, Bai Ye wouldn't mind stopping him. However, among this group of mice, there was a group of people who caught Bai Ye's attention. This wave of people is exactly CP9 who appeared in the original book. Like CPO, CP9 is also a world government spy agency, independent of Marine. However, since CP9 was defeated by Straw Hat Crew, the world government no longer paid much attention to CP9, which led to the spy operations of the former CP9 being taken over by the more mysterious CPO and CP1 CP8 spy agencies of the world government. If Bai Ye remembers correctly, after 2 years, Spandam, the former chief of C9, also became Lu Qi's subordinate after becoming CPD. The entire CP9 has begun to decline from this stage. Bai Ye was a little surprised that these rats dared to stare at him. Bai Ye guessed that Spandam was eager to claim credit from the world government in order to keep his position. Bai Ye understood the purpose of these rats, after simple thinking. However, since Spandam saved a life earlier, and now he is going to die, Bai Ye doesn't mind crushing this little bug to death. Advertisement. At the same time, Marine government. At this time, Marshal Marine was temporarily served by former Marshal Sengoku. Sengoku is worthy of being the old fox of the old days. After acting as Marshal Marine again, in just a few months, all plans of Marine were successfully implemented. Coupled with the fact that the world's large conscription expansion plan has started smoothly, the vitality of the entire Marine is also recovering at an extremely fast speed. Green Bull, its original name is unknown at present. Is it a strong man recommended by Fujitora? Maybe it is another unknown folk monster. It seems that it is necessary to send someone to contact it. Sengoku stared at a document in his hand, thinking that Fujitora's combat power was not inferior to Admiral's. Sengoku silently kept this document in his heart, and looked at the next candidate for the conscription plan. Anyone who participated in Summit War here at this time will be surprised to find that Sengoku's fluffy black hair has now become all white. The serious aura exuded by Sengoku, known as the resourceful general, at the beginning, has changed drastically. This kind of change is not all reflected in the outside, but more in the temperament and aura. The former is like a wily fox, but now he is more inclined to be an old man who really fits the age group. 0. Immediately, at this moment, a marine ran in a panic. Mr. Sengoku, this is an urgent document from the capital of Seven Waters, please pass. The capital of Seven Waters. Isn't there a shipyard? Could it be that there is a problem with Marine's recent addition of ships? Sengoku took the documents and thought that the expansion of Marine's force would naturally require warships. Marine could not manufacture a large number of warships in a short period of time, so a considerable number of warships were entrusted to the capital of Seven Waters. Advertisement. If something goes wrong with these warships, it is indeed an emergency. Sengoku opened the file, and he found that it was a file, but rather a stupid plan by CP9. There are also a few photos attached to the file, which are the figures of Bai Ye and Luo Bao who appeared in the capital of Seven Waters. Seeing these photos, Sengoku's face was solemn. This demon. Marine will carry out the transfer of the headquarters, plus the Summit War, the demon-slaying operation and other events. It is undoubtedly the beginning when this man joined the Summit War and was exposed to the world. Unexpectedly, the other party blatantly appeared in the capital of Seven Waters. Sengoku couldn't help clenching his fists, but Sengoku didn't send troops to attack like Akainu. After the demon-slaying operation, Marine, who was already recovering his vitality, undoubtedly suffered another serious injury to his vitality. Because of Akainu's stupidity, Marine has already paid a huge price for the second time. Although the World Conscription Plan 3.2 was successfully held, Marine's vitality has begun to recover, but there is still a huge gap compared with Summit War at this time. So even if he got the news of this man, at least Sengoku would not be as stupid as Akainu to send troops immediately. Don't forget, the capital of Seven Waters is not only related to a quarter of the ships in the world, but also a part of Marine's recovery plan. So even if he knew that this man was in the capital of Seven Waters, after thinking about it, Sengoku decided that the best way at present is to monitor, and it is best not to do anything. Because now is not the time to do it. Even if you want to do it, you have to wait for Marine's vitality to recover to a certain level. This is what Sengoku thinks at the moment. But after Sengoku saw the stupid plan attached to the document, even Sengoku couldn't help cursing the stupidity. 082. CP9 Feet's Death Plan. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The content of this document plan is simple. It is CP9 who wants to use the power of Marine to deal with this demon, and then CP9 can use this as an excuse to claim credit from the world government and pray for forgiveness for the previous failure of Eni's lobby. Sengoku was known as the resourceful general. When he was marshal, how could Sengoku not know what CP9 was up to? The leader of CP9 is Spandam. Because of the Eni's lobby incident earlier, Marine also got news. As a result, Sengoku sent someone to investigate Spandam's intelligence. Spandam, being able to become the chief of CP9 does not rely on strength, nor does it depend on its own intelligence ability. Instead, Spandam is qualified to become the chief of CP9 purely by relying on his father, Spandane, who was the former chief of CP9. His own strength is almost infinitely weaker than 0, and his talent is also extremely insufficient. Coupled with all the stupid things he committed before, Sengoku can easily judge that Spandam is a stupid idiot who does nothing, only knows to serve his own purpose and ignores all consequences. 30. But, that's because Spandam is such a garden variety dumbass. It is possible for Spandam to do such an extremely stupid thing in order to please the world government. For example, this plan, which on the surface looks like Marine asking for help, is actually a plan to please the world government after the failure of the demon-slaying operation. From Sengoku's point of view, it is extremely stupid. Advertisement. Akainu plus Marine Admiral, plus CPO, and 10 times the number of warships equivalent to ordinary Buster Call. Such a terrifying force did not take down this demonic existence. Where does the mere CP9 get its confidence from? Although Sengoku has heard that the world government intends to rectify CP9, cancel CP9 qualifications and a series of related work. But Spandam's plan this time is undoubtedly as stupid as it gets. Marine has been recovering since the Summit War. Not long ago, Akainu suffered another serious injury. Spandam even wants Marine to dispatch, and then use this to claim credit from the world government. It's a good idea, but the idiot Spandam didn't think about any consequences at all. Once that demon is angered, if something happens to the capital of Seven Waters that is currently building the warship that Marine will use for the next 2 years. Thinking of this, Sengoku wished he could kill this idiot now. Especially after Sengoku read the so-called perfect plan formulated by Spandam. Immediately, without any hesitation, Sengoku ordered Vice Admiral, the guard of the Marine branch closest to the capital of Seven Waters, to go there and do everything in his power to stop this idiot Spandam before he made an irreparable mistake. The idiot Spandam actually planned to repeat the old trick and use the woman to blackmail the demon. This is the stupidest bastard plan Sengoku has ever seen since he became a Marine. At the same time, the capital of Seven Waters. Any news from Marine? Advertisement. In a hotel, a purple-haired man with a leather case covering his face said nothing to a CP9 member. This man was exactly Spandam, who had been recovering from his injuries for several months. Master Spandam, Marine doesn't seem to have any clear information about helping us. A CP9 member said hesitantly. Hearing this, Spandam held the knife that ate devil fruit's ability, and almost immediately shouted angrily, "What? Marines, these stupid guys, my lord gave them the news of that devil, and came up with such a perfect plan. Are those Marines planning to ignore that demon? What the hell is Marine doing? Could it be that they haven't seen my lord's perfect plan?" After finishing speaking, Spandam looked at the strange faces in front of him, gritted his teeth angrily, and said, "Damn it, if those damn bastards hadn't escaped from my lord's command, I need the help of a mere Marine." Several new CP9 members around did not dare to speak, and after letting Spandam vent his anger, he said humanely, "Master Spandam, what should we do? Should we stand still, or continue to observe?" HMPH. Spandam snorted coldly. "Continue to observe? Are you kidding me? My lord has such a thorough plan, those damn Marines won't come if they don't come. But, Master Spandam, rely on us." Another CP9 member hesitated to speak. With people like them, no matter how stupid they are, they know that it is almost impossible to win the demon who offered a reward of 3 billion Baileys. Spandam sneered, staring at the photo in his hand. To be precise, it was the beautiful female figure on it, and said, "What are you afraid of? This damn bitch was lucky enough to escape from my master last time, but this bitch's weakness is also obviously, although we don't know when this bitch had a relationship with that devil, but as long as we find a chance to take down this bitch first, that devil shouldn't watch us torture his woman, right? This, Master Spandam, isn't it too risky? Don't worry, as long as we pretend to be the world government and the Marine government to dispatch again, then this bitch will definitely be willing to obediently go with us again for this man. Once she falls into a trap, will her life not be decided by me?" Spandam continued to sneer and said, "My lord will not make another mistake this time. When this incident is over, the world government forgives me for my previous failure. The 053 people in my lord will definitely torture this bitch, and then throw it in impel down. Let her know what despair is." Yes, Master Spandam. Advertisement. The rest of CP9 couldn't help their eyes light up after hearing the perfect plan. Although the chance is very slim, but as long as there is a chance, it is better than nothing. And if the plan is really successful, they are bound to gain a status higher than those of CP9 before. Immediately, according to Spandam's plan, this group of bugs made an operation. If Sengoku were here, Sengoku would definitely look murderous. This is no longer pure stupidity, it is not an exaggeration to say that it is the embodiment of stupidity. This is simply a court death plan. Immediately thereafter, just when Bai Ye and Robin left the bar, 2 figures of rats, giving Robin a hint, appeared. When Bai Ye saw these 2 figures and was about to solve them, Bai Ye noticed that Robin wanted to see what tricks these rats were playing. Bai Ye temporarily put down the solution idea. That's right, only those who are patient can attract more rats. Just take it as a warning to the other waves of rats before picking up the boat. 083. Solving Spandam, Bai Ye. No, maybe I'm serious. Advertisement. Robin followed the 2 men to a deserted corner street. Seeing that the plan went so smoothly, the 2 leading CP9 couldn't help but secretly rejoice. It seems Master Spandam was right. Next, as long as they reveal the news that the world government and the Marine government have been dispatched, this damned woman will obediently follow them. At that time, they will have a bargaining chip to win the devil who offered a reward of 3 billion. Once their plan is successful, the world government will inevitably cancel the punishment for CP9, and even give rewards. When the position of Master Spandam rises, their status will naturally rise. Just when the two were secretly delighted, they noticed that Robin behind him stopped suddenly, and the expressions of the two couldn't help changing. Ah, you two gentlemen, you are already here, don't you have anything to say? Robin reached out to take off her sunglasses, and with her back to the sunshine of the capital of Seven Waters, she looked at the two CP9 members in this deserted corner street. Compared to her past, Robin's temperament is more mature. Naturally, she is no longer the same as she used to be. For CP9, Robin now just wants to see what tricks these people are going to play. HMPH, don't ask so many questions, just follow us obediently. There is an adult who wants to see you, but it's your old friend. Quickly looking around, seeing no one else, one person said in a cold voice, and when he said the word, old friend, he deliberately emphasized his tone. The purpose is to let this woman remember well and know that it is the perfect plan of that adult. I see. Robin looked natural, looking thoughtfully at the two men who threatened her. If she was going to be used to threaten someone, it would be Bai Ye. Just at this moment, a triumphant sound of clapping hands sounded. There's no need to continue bringing this bitch here, my lord has already come in person, it's been a long time. Nico Robin, son of the devil. Advertisement. The voice sounded, it was in the shadow at the end of the street, and Spandam walked out holding the knife with the devil fruit ability. He looked at Robin with his eyes, and there was a hint of playfulness at the corner of his mouth. I didn't expect you to be fooled by my lord's tricks. This time you fall into my hands, my lord will love you very much. No thinking of not seeing you for so long, you seem to be well exploited by that demon. Spandam came with swear words, with a gradually distorted expression on his face. Robin's expression was slightly gloomy when he heard the words, but thinking of Bai Ye, Robin pretended to be frightened, and took a step back, cautiously said, so it's you, these people are all your subordinates. Spandam saw that the bitch in front of him was backing away in fear. He thought it was the memory of this bitch, and the distorted expression on his face became even more distorted. Of course, besides my lord, who would know the weakness of a bitch like you so well? The son of the devil and the devil are really a good pair. But, it's a pity, you said that you are now in the hands of my lord, will that devil watch me torture his woman? Spandam is indeed an idiot. After seeing Robin's frightened look, he directly revealed his perfect plan. He even said that he wanted to use this perfect plan to claim credit from the world government and forgive the mistakes made by CP9 before. I see. Robin nodded secretly after hearing all the plans. With a distorted grin, Spandam looked at the two CP9s next to Robin and said, what are you doing? Hurry up and catch this bitch, and when we get back to Annie's lobby, the world government will definitely send troops to help. Those stupid Marines won't help my lord, they will definitely regret it. After the voice fell, the two CP9s nodded. Without hesitation, they rushed towards Robin from left to right. Robin will be forcibly subdued and taken away. Now that Robin has understood what is going on with these people, facing the two attacking CP9s, she unhurriedly stretched out her snow-white arms and intertwined them. The moment she closed her eyes, the ability of flower fruit emerged. 8 snow-white arms emerged from the necks, cervical vertebrae, etc. of these two terrified CP9s, and were snapped off immediately after the arms. Immediately, the sound of kacha kacha sounded, and Spandam's face changed, and the two CP9 members fell to the ground without even screaming. 8 round flowers. Cramps. Robin opened his blue eyes, glanced at the fallen CP9 member, then looked at Spandam and said, it seems that you can't do it. Spandam stared at the scene in front of him with wide eyes, as if he hadn't recovered, and shouted in disbelief, bitch woman. How dare you? Do you know that the world government marine government has been eyeing you? Don't you obediently follow my lord? Go, you and that demon will definitely die. You will definitely die miserable. Advertisement. Facing Spandam's threat, Robin remembered the experience during this time. A slight smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and said, it seems that your impression of me is still in the past, and now I have learned to trust my companions, if you dare to use me as a threat. After the words fell, a trace of coldness appeared in Robin's eyes, and 2 rounds of flowers emerged from Spandam's neck. In an instant, Spandam's whole heart was raised, and he shouted in disbelief, this is impossible. This is impossible. You bitch. Bitch. Roaring, Spandam saw the plight of the CP9 members lying at Robin's feet, and suddenly said, even without them. My lord is not something you, a bitch, can defeat. Forget it. My lord will take you away no matter what. When the time comes, my lord will torture you well, and make you, a bitch, regret your decision today forever. As soon as the words fell, the knife in Spandam's hand suddenly turned into a thrusting elephant sword, aiming at Robin. However, the suddenly elongated elephant sword did not fall on Robin, nor did it leave any injuries. Instead, it was a figure of a man stretching out his hand like grabbing a toy and grasping the elephant sword in his hand. No matter how hard Spandam tried, he couldn't shake it in the slightest. Damn. Damn. Spandam gritted his teeth, he couldn't help but look in the direction of the elephant sword. When he saw a figure, Spandam's pupils suddenly widened. If you look carefully, you will find that Spandam's forehead was breaking out in cold sweat the moment he saw Bai Ye, and his legs were trembling faintly. It's the devil who offered a reward of 3 billion Baileys. Spandam is utterly stupid, but not entirely dumb. It is precisely because he knew that he could not deal with this devil who offered a reward of 3 billion, after he received the news in the capital of 7 waters, he made a perfect plan to use Nico Robin. But if this demon appears here, Spandam couldn't help trembling in his heart. He looked at the 2 CP9 members who fell under Robin's feet. Spandam thought that these 2 bastards must have attracted this demon, and Shunan couldn't help but yelled trash. Immediately, he looked at Bai Ye who was holding onto the sword, and his trembling body chose to kneel down. Afterwards, Spandam showed a completely different obsequious look from just now, and kowtowed. Lord Bai Ye, can you let the little one go? The little one is Spandam, the chief of CP9, if you let go of the small ones must be of value to you. Oh, advertisement. Seeing Spandam's easy to transform demeanor, he frowned day and night. Seeing that there was something going on, Spandam lowered his posture immediately. At this time, even Robin couldn't help being stunned when she saw the Spandam suddenly grow longer. But just when Spandam thought he still had value, Bai Ye's next words made Spandam fall into the ice cave again. Just now, you were excited to use my woman to threaten me. Don't you think it would be too easy to simply die? Did you hear that? The pupils of Spandam, who was kneeling on the ground, shrank suddenly, shaking Wang's head. Bai Ye glanced at Spandam with a hint of coldness in his eyes, confirming his thoughts. Then, Bai Ye was too lazy to continue talking nonsense with Spandam. A ray of golden flame appeared in his hand, followed by this ray of flame spreading along the elephant sword towards Spandam. Spandam's expression changed drastically. Not long after, a miserable scream sounded from this corner street. Soon, in addition to the corpses of CP9 members, there was another touch of ashes, and there were no corpses left. Okay, the mouse is solved, so the other mice should be more at ease. Bai Ye stood on this street, as if he had done a trivial thing, and looked at Robin with a smile. Robin opened her thin lips and followed behind Bai Ye. When she left the corner, she suddenly showed a faint smile and asked, I can understand the sentence just now as a gentleman taking advantage of the lady around him. No, maybe I'm serious. Bai Ye stopped and said. Robin. Seeing that Bai Ye continued to walk towards the shipyard after finishing speaking, Robin reached out to put on the sunglasses. A trace of helplessness appeared in his eyes. This man, however, she doesn't hate this feeling. 084. The power behind the Emperor of the Sea. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Thereafter, Bai Ye left this corner street not long ago. Several dark rats, from different strengths all saw the situation here, and their expressions couldn't help changing. Soon, they passed on the things here. As a result, without exception, the eyeliners of all forces received the news that they should never provoke this person, and if possible, they should help Bai Ye solve the trouble as much as possible. Obviously, with the warning of Spandam, there is no fool who does not know Bai Ye's secret intentions. So at this time, no one in the capital of 7 waters wants to provoke Bai Ye, and even some forces that are about to try to win over are much more at ease. If possible, rather than provoking an enemy they can't afford, they would rather take the initiative to show their favor, as long as they ask Bai Ye not to stand against them. After all, anyone who is targeted by a doomed sea emperor will not be able to calm down. Moreover, the capital of 7 waters is the world's largest shipyard. If something happens to the capital of 7 waters, it will definitely have a big impact on everyone. All these conditions combine to create this miraculous scene. Next, Bai Ye picked up the ship from the shipyard, and then went to testing and so on. Advertisement. Along the way, most of the tales were lost. As for the rest, once Bai Ye had any troubles, some unknown people would suddenly appear to help Bai Ye solve them. For example, Bai Ye took Robin to buy some local clothes in the capital of 7 waters. He didn't recognize Bai Ye and Robin at first, but the boss who was about to blackmail suddenly received an order to give everything to these 2 guests for free. Furthermore, if Bai Ye, the capital of 7 waters, wants to go, there are magical people who will take the initiative to help guide the way. This magical and strange situation, even Robin can't help but feel that something is wrong. The whole capital of 7 waters seems very strange. Robin stood outside a clothes shopping store, thinking of the boss's gracious recommendation just now. He couldn't help looking at the city of 7 waters and said. Bai Ye didn't take it seriously, and said with a smile, maybe this is the so-called privilege. Privilege. Robin looked at Bai Ye. Bai Ye explained. If it is more accurate, it should be made by those tales before. Why? It's very simple. These tales have actually recognized our identities since the second day we arrived here. They may have other ideas at the beginning, but after seeing the end of CP9, these tales from different forces have become honest. There are too many, they dare not show up, but they are afraid that I will do something in the capital of 7 waters. So, they will try their best to meet all my needs here, as long as I don't become their enemy. Advertisement. I see. Robin mused. Bai Ye continued. Do you believe that no one will collect money when we go to any bar now? There are people who pay the bill for us. When Robin heard the words, she heard the bar go dumb. Bar. The man next to her really likes wine. However, no one in any bar in the capital of Seven Waters will collect money, and there are people who will help to pay. This kind of thing is extremely exaggerated in Luo Bao's view. These privileges, as if this man is like an emperor. Emperor. Thinking of this word, Robin couldn't help falling into silence. In fact, the reason why every emperor in the New World is the first emperor of the New World is not just a title. It really means that any big pirate who has the reputation of a sea emperor, no matter where he is no different from a real emperor. The root of all this stems from the terrifying power of the Emperor of the Sea, which is comparable to his fame. Bai Ye beside her is probably one of such existences. Advertisement. Of course, she had heard of the title of Emperor of the Sea, but after actually seeing this situation, Robin realized the terrifying power hidden behind this fame. Although Bai Ye is currently alone, if Bai Ye announces the recruitment of subordinates in the capital of Seven Waters, I am afraid that not only the capital of Seven Waters, but also East Blue, Four Seas, and even New World will have countless pirates swarming here. Such power is truly terrifying. Robin was already very smart. Thinking of these things, the strange situation in the capital of Seven Waters is now much more normal. This is a place where forces are intertwined and complicated. As one of the largest shipyards in the world, the clients here include marine, pirates, various kingdoms, and even underground dark forces. When an existence like Bai Ye came here, it was almost impossible not to attract attention. But considering Bai Ye's threatening power, no matter what ideas and goals these forces have, they dare not show up directly, so after the warning from CP9. These forces were originally the surveillance side, but now these people not only dare not show up, but also want to avoid idiots like CP9 from annoying Bai Ye. As a result, the entire capital of Seven Waters has formed a phenomenon like this at this time. At this moment, Robin has fully realized why countless ambitious pirates are targeting the Emperor of the Sea. The hidden power behind this name is a terrifying existence capable of affecting the world in the true sense. 085. Marine Vice Admiral appears. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This moment, when Robin realized the energy contained in Bai Ye. Bai Ye received a call bug from Bingshan here. It turned out that the boat that Bai Ye customized was not originally the material of the legendary Baoshu Atom. Lee's Treasure Tree Atom material. And these people refused to disclose their identities and origins, leaving only a sentence, "It's great if you can help that adult." Bingshan is also an old fritters, he immediately realized what was going on. So now that there are plenty of Treasure Tree Atom materials, Bingshan can completely remodel Bai Ye's customized boat. And since Bai Ye's ship has already been built, half a day is enough for the renovation work, which is why Bingbird called the bug. After all, as a shipyard owner and one of the former disciples of the world's best craftsman Tom, Ice Yamamoto is also very obsessed with shipbuilding. So when I heard about some of Bai Ye's ideas about the ship, Bingshan had a sudden sense of seeing the new world the gate. It's just that it was limited by the Treasure Tree Atom. Looking around the world, there are only a few special materials that have survived the war. Even if some of them occasionally appear on the black market, they are worth at least 200 million berries. Therefore, Bingshan does not have these materials for the time being. Now with Baoshu Atom, Bingshan is fully confident that the performance and toughness of Bai Ye's custom-made boat will be doubled to the original level, or even several times. Bai Ye's ship, Iceberg, can guarantee that it is entirely possible to become the ultimate perfect ship surpassed by his master Tom Master for One Piece Roger. The times are advancing, and so is the shipbuilding technology. No wonder Iceberg got it. Baoshu Atom sent a message to Bai Ye at the first time. Advertisement. Half a day. That's fine, it's hard work. Bai Ye listened to the promise and anticipation of the Iceberg in the phone bug, and nodded. Bai Ye did not mention it directly after the ship was tested and launched before. It is still in the Bingshan shipyard. If Bingshan spends half a day, the performance and toughness of the whole ship can be doubled or even several times. In Bai Ye's opinion, it is a steady profit. After all, there are sometimes poor quality pirate ships on East Blue. If he uses too much force, he will step on the deck. No matter the strength or toughness, they are far from comparable to New World's pirate ships. Bai Ye suspected that something went wrong on the deck as soon as he started doing something, not to mention that even some of the warships manufactured by the Marine branch were obviously of poor quality, which gave Bai Ye the idea of simply building a ship of his own. If Iceberg can increase the toughness and performance of the ship several times in half a day, it will undoubtedly be good. Of course, Bai Ye didn't care who sent the materials. If he doesn't come to provoke him, Bai Ye can turn a blind eye and close one eye. If he dares to make trouble and seek death, Bai Ye will not stop him. The size of the trouble is actually from the perspective of Bai Ye as a time traveler. Since he has been exposed to this world, the size of the trouble does not matter. Just like those who want to stand at the top of the world, the premise is to have a fearless heart. Even if it is fear, if you don't even have the courage to face it directly, it will be tantamount to dooming the length of the road a person can walk. At least, Bai Ye has never seen a real strong guy who doesn't have this kind of state of mind. Thereafter, Since someone in the capital of Seven Waters is willing to serve him, Bai Ye is not polite. During the time when the iceberg was transforming the ship, Bai Ye collected all the daily supplies. Bai Ye has done this kind of work many times when he was in the Whitebeard Pirates, and now he is familiar with it when he sits up. Advertisement. In addition to food, it is wine. Bai Ye has reserved wine for at least a year, plus Robin's favorite coffee and black tea, etc. These coffees seem to be unprocessed, don't they? Robin's eyes lit up when she saw that there was coffee in Bai Ye's supplies, but when she saw that it was unground coffee, Robin couldn't help showing a trace of doubt in her eyes. You will know when the time comes, just treat it as a surprise. Bai Ye did not directly explain the reason to Robin. Due to the relationship of the times, even if Bai Ye explained the principle of the coffee machine to Robin, it is estimated that Robin still has a half knowledge. It can only be said that this time Bai Ye commissioned Bingshan to build this ship, and there are many ideas on it from Bai Ye's era before he crossed dimensionality reduction strikes. Even Bing Yamamoto has a little understanding of many things, and only knows how to make them according to the ideas and requirements provided by Bai Ye. Point 0 for flowers. 0. If it weren't for Bingshan's identity and status that hindered Bai Ye, I'm afraid he couldn't help asking with inner curiosity. Subsequently, after gathering the daily necessities. Sure enough, there was no need for Bai Ye to do it himself. These people seemed to have received an order early on and would help Bai Ye send the collected items to the Bingshan shipyard. It has to be said that if the purpose of these unknown guys is not taken into consideration, these people are indeed top-notch in accidentally helping at any time, and they have indeed brought a certain degree of convenience to Bai Ye. Of course, when Bai Ye brought Robin to buy underwear, the mouse in the dark was obviously more honest, and all the staff in the store were replaced by women. Robin helped pack it when he was a little embarrassed, and then asked intimately what type he liked. Advertisement. 0. Fortunately, this state did not last long. Especially when the clerk called Bai Ye, your husband seems to like it too. Even Robin's face was blushing. Originally, it was enough for her to come alone for this kind of thing, but considering what happened before CP9, Robin knew Bai Ye's character, so he had no choice but to persuade Bai Ye to choose this kind of intimate clothes with her. And, it seems that only lovers will come to this kind of store together. It's really good. After leaving the store, Bai Ye saw that Robin's ears were still red, so he jokingly added. Speaking of which, Robin had a few bikinis that he personally selected. Bai Ye looked at Robin's very good figure, and it seemed that he could look forward to waiting for Robin to wear it on the boat. However, it was good that Bai Ye didn't mention it at this time. When she mentioned it, Robin turned her head unexpectedly, and immediately, she quietly stretched out a round of flowers and pinched Bai Ye with a bit of a dark belly. It's just a pity that Bai Ye's physique is as high as Bai Ye's. It feels like a mosquito touches Bai Ye, although Robin didn't really use his strength. Subsequently, in this atmosphere, the time has come close to the time agreed with Bingshan. However, not far from the shipyard, Bai Ye stopped, and Robin's blue pupils froze slowly. I saw following the eyes of the two of them, this is Marine. The leader is a Marine Vice Admiral 10.086. Sengoku's deal with Bai Ye. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Marine seems to be in trouble. Robin saw the figure in front of her. She looked gloomy, and took a step back secretly, ready to use the flower fruit ability. The CP9 people may be an accident, but Marine, and can send Marine Vice Admiral level and above here. The other party was definitely ordered by a high-level Marine, and then related to the previous Chitra Wolf massacre incident, Robin saw Marine blocking in front of him, so his body would react subconsciously. Bai Ye did not show any panic because of the appearance of Marine Vice Admiral in front of him. According to the news announced by Marine, the Marshal of the Marine government will temporarily be reassigned by Sengoku, an old fox. If Sengoku is really the Marshal right now, Sengoku would never be stupid enough to send a Vice Admiral to try to deal with him. At least, with Sengoku's character as an old fox, if he is not absolutely sure, it is impossible for him to make such a stupid move as Akainu before. After being instructed, there is currently no one in front of the Bingshan shipyard. Item. As this the demon, the Marine Vice Admiral standing in front of Bai Ye and Robin was named Daola. He was standing outside the Bingshan shipyard at this time. Daola looked at Bai Ye, who was exactly the same as the reward order in front of him. Daola couldn't help swallowing a mouthful of saliva. Now that half a day has passed, Dora naturally received a report from his Marine spies about CP9, but thinking of Marshal Sengoku's new mission, Dora bit the bullet and took a step forward. He bowed his head and said, "Please rest assured, I am ordered by Marshal Sengoku. Marine will never do anything to you in the capital of Seven Waters." Advertisement. After the voice fell, the air here couldn't help being silent for a few seconds. When Robin came back to her senses, she was the first to show a hint of surprise in her eyes. Marine can't do it. What is Marine planning again? Bai Ye nodded when he heard that it was Sengoku. If it was Sengoku's definite order, there is really not much surprise. Bai Ye looked at the dark-skinned Vice Admiral and said lightly, "Let's say, Marine won't do anything to me here, just to convey a word. Sengoku sent a Marine Vice Admiral. It shouldn't be that simple, right?" Daola's heart sank. He held back the trembling in his heart. nodded, and said bravely, Marshal Sengoku sent me here. In addition to conveying this sentence, Commander Sengoku wants to make a deal with you. Trade. Bai Ye became a little interested when he heard the words, Marshal Marine's deal, let's talk about it. Daola first saw that Bai Ye had no plans to attack him at the moment. Daola couldn't help but glance at Robin, who was ready at any time. Then he forcibly suppressed the shock in his heart, whispered to Bai Ye and continued to bite the bullet, said. The content of this transaction, including Mr. Sengoku, is only known to us who were present. Daola took a deep breath and said, Mr. Sengoku's deal is very simple. As long as you don't cause trouble in the Seven Waters, Marine can act as if he has never seen you in the Seven Waters, and it will not hinder you. The things you have done are not limited to here. In the next year, as long as you do not do super standard things within the scope of East Blue, Marine will not do anything to you. When the words fell, Daola couldn't help tensing up. Daola saw the shocked look on Robin beside Bai Ye, and he gave a wry smile from the bottom of his shocked heart. When he heard the content of Marshal Sengoku's transaction, he was also shocked and his scalp tingled. Such a demon who is not tolerated by the world government and who created the Summit War and followed the Chitra Wolf massacre incident, Marshal Sengoku actually wants to make a deal with this demon in front of him. If he hadn't witnessed Marshal Sengoku reviewing the expansion plan of the world recruitment some time ago, he couldn't help wondering whether Marshal Sengoku had joined the pirates. However, after Sengoku briefly talked about the content behind the transaction, Dora understood why Marshal Sengoku proposed such an almost impossible transaction to the devil. That's why he came, and came before this demon, who was, without exaggeration, one of the most dangerous existences in the world. Advertisement. Marine won't come and get in my way. Sounds like a good deal. Bai Ye made a thinking look. During this waiting time, Daola only hoped that the demon would make a quick decision, because standing in front of Bai Ye, even if Bai Ye didn't release any momentum, Daola thought of Bai Ye's reward and deeds in front of him. Just a little out of breath. The strong are like this, even if they don't release their aura, ordinary people can faintly feel the difference, not to mention the biggest and most dangerous enemy of the world government and even the Marine government in front of him. Time passed by every minute and every second. Just when Daola didn't know how long it had passed and was trembling inside, Bai Ye's voice finally sounded. It sounds like a good deal, and I can take it. Daola seemed to hear the sound of nature, and breathed a long sigh of relief. However, the next request Bai Ye made Daola's expression suddenly change. 0. It was true that the demon agreed to the agreement, but the additional requirements were extremely excessive even from his Marine point of view. Did he see through Marshal Sengoku's purpose? Listening to Bai Ye's additional requests, Daola's scalp tingled for a while. Afterwards, after listening to Bai Ye's additional requirements, Daola had a vague guess in his heart. But because of this mission, Daola could only bite the bullet and said, I need to report these additional requirements to Marshal Sengoku. You should know that I am only a vice admiral, and I cannot help Marshal Sengoku make decisions at all. Nothing. I can wait. Bai Ye glanced at Daola, and then said calmly, So, now, do you want to be killed, or do you want to give way? After the words fell, Daola chose to leave here almost immediately without any hesitation. Advertisement. Thereafter, in front of Iceberg Shipyard. Marine would propose such a deal to the pirates. And these deals come from Sengoku, who is known as the resourceful general. After Robin appeared from Daola, after listening to the content of the agreement, and after Daola left, Robin finally couldn't help but exclaimed. Marine would make such a deal with the pirates. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she would hardly believe it. Moreover, after Bai Ye proposed that in Robin's view, Marine was also full of additional conditions to set foot on the bottom line, she thought that the other party would directly refuse. Unexpectedly, Dora's reply was, unable to make a final decision, he needs to consult Marshal Sengoku for instructions. 2.0. Robin couldn't help being shocked by all of this. Seeing Robin's shock, Bai Ye smiled and said, Do you think Marine will lose from this proposal? When Robin heard this, she thought for a moment. What is the purpose of Marine? At this time, although Robin was shocked by what happened just now, Robin was not completely out of ideas. Because, the Marine Marshal known as, the resourceful general, is absolutely impossible to make a decision that is almost stupid in the eyes of outsiders. So, there's a good chance that there's some kind of bigger thing behind this, or something that's good for Marine. Bai Ye cast an appreciative look, nodded and said, You guessed it right, remember that the enemy will never make a decision that is harmful to you, unless. Robin looked at Bai Ye. Bai Ye said, It's that idiot Akainu. 087. Name the ship, Summit, Pinnacle. Advertisement. Iceberg Shipyard here. With Bai Ye's arrival, it is naturally still an iceberg to receive Bai Ye and the two of them. Iceberg was waiting for Bai Ye early in the morning after the renovation on the second floor of the shipyard. He also saw what happened below, but Bingshan was very smart and didn't ask too much. As the president here, Bingshan is also the head of the capital of Seven Waters. What he has to do is to fulfill his due role in the capital of Seven Waters and protect the capital of Seven Waters to the maximum extent. Therefore, The capital of Seven Waters, the largest shipyard in the world, can maintain its stability for a long time even if the dark forces are deeply rooted. Whether the guest is a marine, a pirate, or some kingdom entrusted, it will be accepted here. But relatively, as long as the guests don't do anything that endangers the local area, the city will give them maximum relief. It is also this kind of attitude that has created the city of Seven Waters, one of the few prosperous cities in the world. Please follow me. Bingshan opened the office door and turned to lead the way. As it approaches an area inside the shipyard where custom ships are stored, Bingshan's shrine is also faintly excited and can't wait to introduce it to Bai Ye. Because of the existence of the precious tree atom, 30 many designs that cannot be supported by ordinary wood have been realized. Coupled with some ideas for boats proposed by Bai Ye, Bingshan is like a master builder at this time, with the best works. Naturally, I couldn't help asking people to appreciate the work. The shipyard is a place that occupies a large area. After Bai Ye left the second office, he walked with Bingshan for a while before arriving at the location where the customized ships were stored. This is a ship in the shadows. With Bingshan ordering workers to open the surrounding baffles, the ship that will stand at the peak and apex in the future began to gradually reveal the whole picture. Advertisement. The size of this ship is relatively large among the generally large pirate ships, and it belongs to small and medium-sized pirate ships similar to Straw Hat Crew. It doesn't look very expensive on the outside, but if you look carefully, you will find that every inch and every design of this ship is the most meticulous and time-consuming perfect work of the best shipbuilders. Even the most basic decoration uses it is also the highest specification that can be produced in the capital of Seven Waters. It can be said that in order to build this ship within 3 days, Bingshan invited almost all the best craftsmen from the capital of Seven Waters in the name of the governor. And in order to prevent Bai Ye's idea from leaking, Bingshan divided the craftsmen into several batches, responsible for the parts in batches, and finally let him do the inspection and final build and so on. Of course, the point of this boat isn't really about looks. The ship's built-in power source is actually based on the sea train as a power template, combined with Bai Ye's conception of modern ship power as a traverser, and created a dragon-slaying magic of thunder, that is, electricity as fuel, that transcends the current era. Boat. In addition, the interior design of the ship has 2 floors, storage room, large bathroom, steam room, living room, shazoon room, leisure room, etc., needless to say. Bai Ye basically designed all kinds of rooms and items that are necessary or not necessary in daily life, so that Bingbird can be integrated into the ship according to the specifications. In the end, this ship was fully remodeled with the addition of treasure tree atom as the final material. Bingshan can confidently say that there is absolutely no other ship in the world that can be better than this one. Whether it is the speed of the ship, the difficulty of handling, and the adaptability to harsh environments, etc., this ship is at the top of the real world. Even if it is compared with the 4 Emperors pirate ship, which is much larger than this ship, it is still inferior. Bai Ye was also satisfied with the ship in front of him. No wonder the iceberg would become excited as it approached here. For this ship, considering the gathering of all the best shipbuilders in the capital of Seven Waters, coupled with batch production, the materials were finally finished by Baoshu Adam. And, the most important concept of Bai Ye, it can be said that this kind of ship will undoubtedly become the only one in the world, and it is also a ship beyond this era. Even Bai Ye didn't expect to be able to transform to such an extent on the basis of the immovable original after only giving Bingshan half a day. It can be said that this trip to the capital of Seven Waters has completely exceeded Bai Ye's expectations. Advertisement. Mr. Bai Ye, all the supplies on this ship have been carried by our company, please rest assured. At this time, the secretary who was supposed to be taking over from Khalifa beside Bingshan couldn't help but speak. Bai Ye nodded. Well, I am very satisfied with this ship. And please don't say that, because you serve. It's an honor for our shipyard. Bingshan took the topic and laughed. To be honest, when Bingshan saw Bai Ye coming here, Bingshan was also worried about what Bai Ye would do in the capital of Seven Waters at first. However, over the past few days, Bingshan discovered that Bai Ye is not exactly the incarnation of the devil as the world government advertised, so it would be great if he could continue to maintain this peaceful state. He does the entrusting work well, and Bai Ye is the buyer. Apart from that, it is best not to get involved in other relationships. I've placed the reward in your office, just take it. Bai Ye chatted with Bingshan for a while. When it came to the reward, Robin nodded, and used the flower fruit ability to put the previous card in Bingshan's office. Bai Ye is really satisfied with the ship built by the city of Seven Waters this time, and Bai Ye does not lack such things as Bailey. In addition, once he leaves the city of Seven Waters, this card is useless, and it doesn't matter if it is better to leave it to the iceberg. And compared to this, the only thing Bai Ye is looking forward to now is undoubtedly the ship in front of him. After finishing the shipbuilding, Bai Ye asked the people of the shipyard to launch the ship into the water, and took the ship out of the port of the shipyard. Sure enough, Baoshu Atom is a good material. I didn't expect that just by using it in the transformation, the toughness of this ship has increased by at least several times. Located on the deck under the blue sky, Bai Ye stepped on the deck, feeling completely different from those pirate ships before East Blue. This kind of comparison, one is the sky, and the other is the garbage underground, one can imagine how big the gap is. Advertisement. The most important thing is that the ship is tough enough, which means that even if it is attacked, as long as it is not very serious, it can recover slowly. This is also based on the characteristics of the treasure tree atom. This also means that even if Bai Ye is fighting with people, as long as he controls it properly on this ship, it will not take a few days or half a month for a ship to be reimbursed due to various accidents, causing Bai Ye to change ships again. On the side, Robin couldn't help being dumbfounded when he heard Bai Ye's words 910. Robin put her fingertips on this ship. As an archaeologist and scholar, she was surprised to find that this ship did not use the ordinary treasure tree atom. The entire ship, whether it is the deck, the ship wall, or the details of the interior rooms, etc., should all use the toughest and most essential part of the treasure tree atom. To build such a ship, Robin estimates that the cost of Guangbaoshu atom may not be less than billions. Even more profits. And considering the rarity of the treasure tree atom, which can be built with all the most essential parts, such a ship may be the only one in the whole world. By the way, does this ship need a name? Robin retracted her fingertips from the side of the ship in amazement. She put down the newspaper in the other hand and looked at Bai Ye. Name it. Bai Ye nodded. Bai Ye thought for a while, and soon a word came to Bai Ye's mind. Bai Ye then slowly pronounced a word. Summit. Summit. Robin hesitated slightly. Bai Ye said with a smile. The name implies the pinnacle, and I believe this ship is worthy of this name. Peak. Peep. Indeed, I'm afraid there won't be another ship like this in this world. When Robin heard this, she was thoughtful, and she nodded in agreement. In this way, Bai Ye's ship was named the Summit, which can also be said to be the pinnacle. It symbolizes that this ship will be the pinnacle of all ships, and Bai Ye will one day truly stand on the pinnacle of this world. 088. Marine's recovery is vitality, but Bai Ye will become stronger. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Thereafter, Bai Ye came to the power room below, and used the Thunder Dragon slaying magic as power to charge the ship under his feet. Now with electricity as the power source, it is easier to control and sail than ordinary boats. Even Robin can help Bai Ye steer the boat. Therefore, compared with the generally bulky sailing ships of this era, this ship undoubtedly satisfied Bai Ye. More importantly, there are various functional rooms on this ship. Compared to East Blue's messy pirate ship, there is no doubt that there is no comparison at all. In this way, after leaving the port of the shipyard, Bai Ye used this ship to sail around the capital of Seven Waters, which itself is scattered all over the waterway. Sure enough, the speed, convenience, toughness, etc. are all better than Bai Ye estimated. With this ship, not only is the speed faster, the sailing ship is faster, and it is easier to control, but also because this ship is powered by the Thunder Dragon Slayer magic, even the calm belt, which is known as the Dead Sea of sailing ships in this world, can flow smoothly, unimpeded. After sailing around in general, I am more and more satisfied with this boat day and night. Immediately, just when Bai Ye was thinking about guessing that it was about time for Marine to come. Sure enough, after leaving the port of the capital of Seven Waters, Daola was already waiting here. But this time, Daola did not talk to Bai Ye, but threw a phone bug to Bai Ye. Daola then pretended that he did not see Bai Ye, and ordered the prosecutor of the capital of Seven Waters to let him go. When the prosecutor first saw Marine, his whole heart went up. But seeing that they were safe and sound, even if he didn't know what happened, it would be great to save his life, so he hurriedly let them go. In this way, Bai Ye drove the boat out of the capital of Seven Waters easily. This is indeed a nice place. Bai Ye was lying on a deck chair made of Baoshu atom, turned his head to look at the city of Seven Waters. From the outside, the capital of Seven Waters looked like a sea city composed of huge fountains. Okay. Robin nodded in agreement, and immediately, she looked at the phone bug in Bai Ye's hand. It's a white phone bug with the marine seagull logo on it. Seeing Robin's gaze, Bai Ye said with a smile, "This phone bug is not unexpected, I think it can contact the person who proposed to trade with me before." Advertisement. The person who proposed the deal. When Robin heard this, a trace of shock appeared in her eyes. In other words, this phone bug is from. Robin's expression darkened. Sure enough, she thought of this, the moment Bai Ye turned on the phone bug. The phone bug is also an old friend. It is Sengoku who is currently acting as the Marine Admiral. At the same time, the former branch of New WORLDG-1 Marine. After several months of transformation and mobilization, it has completely become the new naval headquarters. A high-level conference room here. Sengoku is talking to a phone bug. The voice from the phone bug was Bai Ye. But right after, in this small meeting room, in the shadows, there was the previous crane, and some high-level Marines were here. It's just that they were all listening quietly and didn't interrupt anything. Apparently, Sengoku's call, as well as the previous decision, have been approved by the senior management of Marine. This is the capital of Seven Waters. On a sea area outside. Can you consider the additional conditions I want? Backquote. Bai Ye didn't give Sengoku a good look because of his identity. Because Bai Ye knew very well that there must be some kind of purpose hidden behind Sengoku's decision. With the character of this old fox, if you think Sengoku is an idiot like Akainu, then you will definitely be tricked into doubting your life. In the era of great pirates, the reason why Sengoku was known as the resourceful general was that Sengoku got this title because he suffered a lot from countless big pirates in planning. It can be said that looking at the entire marine, anyone who can be called an old fox must have Sengoku. Advertisement. Your terms. I can agree, but how do I know you will abide by the deal? The phone bug in Bai Ye's hand was silent for a moment, and Sengoku's voice came to speak. Bai Ye raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard the words. He is indeed an old fox who always puts Marine's interests first, but Bai Ye did not give Sengoku face because of this. He opened the mouth and said, the transaction is a transaction, and there is no need for so much nonsense to establish it. In addition, this is not the first time you Marine have done this kind of thing, right? As a time traveler, Bai Ye can clearly remember that this is not the first time that Marine has traded with pirates, and looking back, it seems that Marine had traded with pirates before the Rocks era, and even joined hands with such absurd things. After the words fell, Sengoku fell into a long silence. Afterwards, Sengoku read out the additional conditions proposed by Bai Ye one by one, after confirming that they were correct. Only then did Sengoku's voice continue to come from the phone bug. In this case, within the next year, Marine can grant privileges in the East Blue, and even the first half of the Four Seas to the Grand Line, but relatively, you can't do anything to Marine people at will. Sengoku added one condition at the end. This is no problem, but the premise is that if someone seeks death, you should understand that I will not stop it. Bai Ye's tone was as usual. Sengoku was silent for a while, although Sengoku himself was very unhappy with Bai Ye's attitude, but for this plan, Sengoku still nodded at naval headquarters, and the voice came from the phone bug in Bai Ye's hand. Okay. The voice fell, and then there was no sound on the phone. Bai Ye took a look at the disposable phone bug in his hand, then swept over the railing of the boat and threw it directly into the sea. Then, Bai Ye looked at Robin, who had put down the newspaper and had been staring at him since just now, and said with a smile, if you have any questions, you can ask them. I am in a good mood today. Robin opened her thin lips, and she said, with Marshal Marine's character, he would agree to the additional conditions you proposed earlier. No wonder Robin was shocked. After all, the previous conditions were from Robin's point of view. In her view, Marine was also challenging the bottom line. Unexpectedly, Sengoku, as a well-known old fox, would agree to those additional conditions, just for this one-year deal. Bai Ye seemed to have known that Robin would react in this way. He said with a smile, on the surface, this condition seems to be a big loss for Marine, but in fact this condition is the most beneficial transaction for Marine. This is. Why? Bai Ye said. The reason is very simple, Marine has nothing to do with me at present. Bai Ye continued. After the Summit War, Marine lost nearly half of its elite troops, coupled with Akainu's stupid demon-slaying action. Marine is now absorbing some folk monsters secretly, even though it is constantly absorbing fresh blood through the world recruitment plan. But, Robin was taken aback. Bai Ye said. Don't forget, most of the fresh blood are still new Marines who can't immediately go into battle. They need time to grow and train. And time, just happens to be the most lacking thing for Marine to recover. I see. Robin bowed his head thoughtfully. Advertisement. At this time, she already understood why Sengoku, as the Marine Marshal, proposed such an almost impossible deal. Compared with an uncontrollable enemy that has invested troops but cannot be sure that it can be wiped out, the better choice right now is to make a deal with the opponent in exchange for recovery time. When Marine has enough time to recover, train the new blood, and add the world's largest conscription plan is still in progress. In this way, there is no need for a long time, and Marine can recover to the strength before the Summit War in just 1 to 2 years, and even stronger. At that time, Marine will have enough troops and combat power, so it will definitely have the confidence to start again. This should be the real purpose behind Sengoku's proposed deal. But if that's the case, Robin realized the horror behind Sengoku's purpose. A tinge of horror appeared in her blue pupils, and she couldn't help but look at Bai Ye. Bai Ye smiled and said, you can think of Sengoku's ideas, but do you think I can't? Robin was dumbfounded. This is true. If not for Bai Ye's reminder, I am afraid she would not be able to think of the real purpose behind Sengoku's proposed deal. Coupled with her understanding of the man in front of her. This man definitely has his own plans. At this time, Bai Ye, Wang Chenjiao, was on the deck, taking a look at the dragon-slaying magic progress template that only he could see. Slowly said in a voice that only Bai Ye could hear, 1 year, Marine is growing. But why am I waiting? Sky Dragon Slayer Magic, Proficiency 19%. During the period from East Blue to the capital of Seven Waters on the Grand Line, the proficiency of Sky Dragon Slaying Magic has never stopped improving day and night. Otherwise, Bai Ye wouldn't spend a lot of time, and Robin wouldn't only come to ask about Wawa Devil Fruit's ability development ideas when Bai Ye really has time. Marine may recover in a year, and even recover beyond the Summit War. However, when Bai Ye arrives, his mastery of the Sky Dragon Slayer magic will rise to a new level. Compared to dealing with some Marines, who have no threat to him in the first half of East Blue or Grand Line, it is obviously more comfortable to upgrade the magic of Dragon Slayer in the sky. Worth to talk about. Just the day before yesterday, when the sky dragon slaying magic progress reached 18%, Bai Ye already felt the awakening of the healing power from the sky dragon. This power from the sky and the dragon will continue to awaken in the future. Moreover, Marine is only recovering his luck, but Bai Ye is actually getting stronger every moment. 089. The highest VIP card from the World Entertainment City, Yulin Tezolo. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Thereafter. The purpose of coming to the capital of Seven Waters has been achieved. Naturally, Bai Ye would not stay in this city. And from today onwards, in the first half of a year in East Blue, Four Seas and Grand Line, there will be no Marines who can't help him improve his strength, which will undoubtedly give Bai Ye more time to focus on the destruction of the sky mastery of dragon magic. Thinking of this, Bai Ye stretched out his hand and scratched the skin on the body surface, and a scar appeared. But immediately, this is a little bit of fluorescent light appearing on the wound, and the wound is recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye in the next moment. This ability is the healing ability that came from the increase in the mastery of sky dragon slaying magic a day ago. However, this power may be due to the fact that the mastery rate is currently only 18%, or the relationship between the world is different. The power of healing is currently more reflected in Bai Ye's physique. Even so, it was scary enough. Several kinds of dragon slaying magic have common characteristics that bring Bai Ye a physique beyond that of a real dragon. The characteristic of Fire Dragon Slayer magic is overwhelming destructive power, the characteristics of Thunder Dragon Slayer magic are speed and piercing power, and Thunder Dragon Slayer magic it is the power to be immune to all toxins and even devour them. Today, coupled with the healing power of the Dragon Slayer magic in the sky, and the power of more dragons in the future. With all these superimposed, Bai Ye couldn't help but look forward to the strength after fully mastering the dragon slaying magic in the sky. I just don't know that when Sengoku knows his real purpose at this moment one day, it is actually helping Bai Ye in disguise, and Sengoku will 663 feel so depressed that he vomits blood. Of course, while Bai Ye was thinking, one person had already vomited blood first. This person was Akainu who was seriously injured. Because Sengoku knew Akainu's character, he didn't inform Akainu in advance of the Marine high-level meeting. After all, the interim marshal did not notify the current marshal, but notified other Marine executives. This is undoubtedly tantamount to slapping Akainu, the current marshal, in the face in public. Advertisement. And after Akainu learned of Sengoku's decision, Sengoku's deal had already been established, and he was powerless to change it. As a result, this led Akainu to know that the transaction partner was already a month later. Akainu, who had recovered to being able to act, immediately spit out a mouthful of blood from his long-standing anger after knowing the real target of the transaction. Of course, this is all later. At this time, Bai Ye had just left the capital of Seven Waters not long ago. Bai Ye discovered that the capital of Seven Waters seems to have a tail that has not given up. When Bai Ye adjusted the speed slightly, Bai Ye saw that it was a uniquely shaped ship. Because the people on this ship are not Marines, nor pirates, are some kingdom forces. This is a woman with a low attitude. She is wearing a long purple dress with slits. As the sea breeze blows by, she reveals a faintly visible snow-white scenery. If anyone has watched the theatrical version of the Golden City, they will find that the pretty woman above has a sign from the world's largest entertainment city, Yulin Tezolo. I've been following you for so long, maybe it's just to say hello. Bai Ye got up and said. Master Bai Ye, I don't intend to disturb you, but because too many people in the Seven Waters are paying attention to you, I have never had the opportunity to contact you. The woman opens her mouth softly and at the same time bends down to apologize, showing her charm and kindness. Then, Bai Ye was not moved by it, but a ray of golden flame emerged from his fingertips. The appearance of the flame made the woman's expression tense immediately. There is no doubt about the actions of the adult in front of her, and there is no doubt about what will happen to her if she says something wrong. Advertisement. Apparently, Bai Ye didn't care if the object of the solution was a beautiful woman. A beautiful woman is good, but if it makes people uncomfortable, there is no way to think about it. If you kill it, you will kill it. What's more, if it's a beautiful woman, isn't there one by Bai Ye's side now? Master Bai Ye, please rest assured that the master behind us has no malice towards you. The source of the treasure tree atom of your ship is us. No, we gave it to you for free. Looking at the small golden flame that contained a sense of suffocation and oppression, the woman hurriedly said. So it was sent by you. Bai Ye showed a hint of suddenness, extinguished the flame on his fingertips, and said, since this is the case, I can give you 1 minute. Whatever you want to say, you can finish it within 1 minute. Thank you, Master Bai Ye. Seeing that Bai Ye extinguished the flame, the female hurriedly bent down excitedly. It is naturally excellent to save a life. And this scene at this time is undoubtedly the benefit of being powerful. DAFB, in this world, when your fame and strength are strong enough to shake the world, even many people you don't know will suddenly find you, friends out of thin air. Bai Ye estimated that even if he wanted the woman in front of him to serve him, this woman would not hesitate to give her everything. Fame, strength, status. That's why it's the coveted goal that almost all pirates pursue. Subsequently, the woman saw Bai Ye say the condition of 1 minute. Immediately, she forcibly calmed down and said hastily, Master Bai Ye, the adults behind us don't have any malice towards you, just want you to know that we are not enemies, and this is our Gulen Tezolo, the highest standard VIP card. If you are willing to come to Gulen Tezolo, we are willing to welcome you at any time. After finishing speaking, the woman poked into her chest and took out a special card made of gold with a faint residual warmth. If there are people from the underground dark world here, they will definitely be horrified by this card. Advertisement. Because of the VIP card of this specification, the kings of many kingdoms dream of a VIP card in Gulen Tezolo. Even looking at the world, there must be no more than 10 people owning it. Because as long as you hold this card and enter Gulen Tezolo, you will receive the highest standard of reception, like a bunch of beauties voluntarily throwing themselves into their arms, all expenses are almost free, etc. These are the most basic things. Because apart from being a status symbol, this card also has the terrifying authority to freely control 10 billion Baileys in Gulen Tezolo, or Baileys banks all over the world. It is conceivable that this card is almost completely indistinguishable from giving away 10 billion berries for free, apart from the status symbol. However, this card that is enough to excite anyone, Bai Ye didn't seem to see it, but continued, then. No more. The woman froze for a moment, obviously not responding. Because she never expected that anyone would not be interested in this VIP card from the world's largest entertainment city, Gulen Tezolo. Afterwards, under the gaze of Bai Ye, she came to her senses and hurriedly said, Then please, Lord Bai Ye. Speaking of this, the woman saw that Bai Ye was really unmoved, and couldn't help becoming a little anxious. In the end, when Bai Ye felt a little funny, he directly adopted the most stupid method, which was to throw the card over. There is no doubt that this throw, if Bai Ye hadn't reached out to catch it, would be almost the same as throwing 10 billion Baileys into the sea. Fortunately, at this moment, a snow-white arm emerged from the edge of Bai Ye's boat, catching the VIP card made of gold. The woman was relieved. Fortunately, as long as the card is delivered, otherwise, if the task is not completed, her end will definitely be miserable. Immediately, she glanced gratefully at the figure who caught the card. Now that the task had been completed, she didn't stay any longer, and hurriedly left the sea area before the lord in front of her had any other thoughts. Bai Ye. 090. Only his woman can help him make decisions. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This time it was Bai Ye's turn to open his mouth. Robin put away his flower fruit ability, and his blue eyes showed a hint of cunning. Afterwards, Robin looked at this unique gold card and propped up her chin with her palms. She sat on a round coffee table beside her and explained. I've heard about this place where this card came from, and even people who used to work in Pakistan Lock are very afraid of this place. So, I think it may be useful in the future if I keep it, even if I don't need it, I can put it away temporarily, and I think if you don't accept it, I'm afraid she will be severely punished when she goes back. Robin sighed softly when he thought of the way the woman had just risked offending Bai Ye by forcibly throwing away the card when she knew she was rejected. Immediately, she looked at Bai Ye and asked, Can you please forgive me for the only time I made my own claim? Bai Ye heard that he already knew the reason why Robin would suddenly help the woman just now. Robin should be on her body. Maybe she saw a little bit of her past experience, so she couldn't help but help. However, the matter of leaving this card is indeed harmless to Bai Ye. But, Bai Ye noticed the cunning in Robin's eyes, he got up and came to Robin, and glanced at the golden card on Robin's pale fingertip. Then, Bai Ye suddenly hugged the wide-eyed Robin, feeling Robin's soft body flustered in his arms because of the sudden incident. The corner of Bai Ye's mouth showed a hint of amusement. Before that, he needs to let Robin know one thing. In this world, only his woman can really help him make some decisions, even if it is an innocuous matter. Immediately. Advertisement. Time began to move gradually. When clapping for love like glue, it lasted for a whole wonderful night. After a long period of time, after not being disturbed by the unsightly marine, everything was indeed a lot easier. As for the revolutionary army that has lost news since the Chitra Wolf massacre, these people did try to contact Bai Ye, and the purpose is beyond doubt. Although the dragon was very unhappy with Bai Ye because of Akainu's stupid demon-slaying action, but if the revolutionary army wants to overthrow the world government, in some places it needs Robin, the only scholar in the world who can decipher ancient characters. Therefore, after the revolutionary army got the news that Bai Ye appeared in the capital of Seven Waters, they sent people to try to contact Bai Ye, but without exception, all of them failed. Regarding the revolutionary army, Bai Ye's original attitude towards this force was neither good nor bad. After all, no matter what the revolutionary army does, generally speaking, there is not much conflict of interest with Bai Ye, so Bai Ye naturally doesn't care. But after the Chitra Wolf massacre incident, Bai Ye's impression of the revolutionary army began to be a bit bad. Therefore, borrowing people, such a thing is impossible. What's more, it was a woman who already belonged to him. Bai Ye didn't have much sense of possession before, it was simply because he was only interested in Robin at the beginning, and it was really comfortable to be accompanied by such a beautiful woman. But after getting along for a few months, it is a lie to say that there is no feeling. What's more, Robin is originally a type of beauty who exudes an intellectual temperament, and Bai Ye is very comfortable no matter in normal times or in doing things. Therefore, since it was occupied by Bai Ye that day, naturally, it was impossible for Bai Ye to lend his own woman to the revolutionary army. If Long was unwilling, Bai Ye would not mind letting Long himself fight. Advertisement. If Yulong thinks he has this ability, he might as well give it a try. At this time, a piece of sea here. On a ship with summit, which is known as the pinnacle, and the apex means the name. This is the first month after leaving the capital of Seven Waters. Bai Ye stayed on the deck, looking at the sky dragon slaying magic condensed in his hand, showing a trace of dissatisfaction. This trace of dissatisfaction naturally came from the recent slowdown in the mastery of Wukong's dragon slayer magic. Although Bai Ye knows that dragon slaying magic is accompanied by the improvement of mastery, and the speed will gradually decrease compared to the beginning. But at this time compared to a month ago, Bai Ye's current dragon slayer magic in the sky, proficiency 29%. In 1 month, it has increased by 11%. This speed is much faster than when he mastered other dragon slaying magics. But you must know that 10% of the 11% of the progress was achieved by Bai Ye in just 20 days. Being able to be so fast is naturally attributed to Bai Ye's speeding up his mastery by using some special weather in the first half of the Grand Line. 0.0 for flowers. However, when Bai Ye reached 28%, which means he had unlocked nearly half of the normal Sky Dragon Slayer magic move, the 1% progress from 28 to 29 made Bai Ye stuck for 10 days. Therefore, it is normal to be dissatisfied day and night. Advertisement. Of course, this is not the first time Bai Ye has faced this situation. Before mastering other dragon slaying magic, Bai Ye also encountered this kind of thing. The appearance of this kind of thing means that dragon slayer magic has begun to completely get used to a certain environment and has reached its limit. For example, when Bai Ye's fire dragon slayer magic absorbed ordinary flames, the highest was raised to 19, and the remaining 20% of the progress was 1%. Bai Ye tried to absorb the power of lava to break this condition, so this kind of bottleneck depends on the type of dragon slaying magic, and sometimes it will inevitably appear. 0. It seems that in the next period of time, these ordinary conditions can no longer meet the conditions for the improvement of sky dragon slaying magic. Bai Ye thought that the dragon slaying magic in the sky would become stronger where the air is pure, and a thought flashed through his mind. Calm Belt, or Sky Island. At this time, a Meowman figure in a bikini came out of the bathroom. Facing the sunny weather, the exposed skin of Meowman's figure was abnormally white, her long black hair had water marks from her bath not long ago. It hangs down on the snow-white skin on the back, adding a different kind of temptation to the already amazing charm. Afterwards, this figure came to the deck with strides, knelt down next to a man who was thinking seriously, blinked his blue eyes curiously, picked up the latest newspaper from this morning, and typed seriously, "Man." Compared with a month ago, this woman exudes an intellectual temperament, but now has an unspeakable charm. Naturally, it is Robin. Regarding the current situation, although Robin was a little confused a month ago, she has gradually accepted the fact. Although she didn't hate the feeling of getting along with Bai Ye a month ago, the scene of hugging her up and possessing her irresistibly a month ago undoubtedly made Robin deeply memorable. From then on, she knew that the man in front of her who had already got everything from her, even under his usual seemingly casual attitude, was hiding a domineering that no one could refuse. Of course, she doesn't dislike that Dao is enough. 091. The new world has been in turmoil for the past year, and the magic progress of dragon slaying in the sky 89%. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. When Bai Ye was thinking, he saw that the corners of Robin's mouth showed a slight curvature, and he was lying beside him, with the white skin on his back bathed in the sunshine under the clear sky, and his blue eyes were sizing him up. A satisfied smile appeared on the corner of Bai Ye's mouth. Sure enough, he had a good eye for choosing a swimsuit for Robin. The color of violet really suits Robin very well. More importantly, Robin's body shape is perfect and his skin is white. No matter what type of swimsuit he wears, it is very suitable. Coupled with the water drops falling from the hair on the skin not long after bathing, it undoubtedly added a touch of temptation to the already extremely charming Robin. I really have a good eye for choosing clothes. Bai Ye smiled and praised himself. Robin felt a little unnatural being looked at like this. If you look carefully, you will find that Robin's earlobes are slightly red. 847. Because a hand has already blatantly touched the strap of her swimsuit around her waist. Subsequently, within the next year or so, New World had a lot of turmoil during this time. First, because BIGMOM and Beasts Pirates formed the Four Emperors Pirate Alliance nearly a year ago. After a period of silence, the two Four Emperors pirate groups finally began to reveal their ambitions, and in the third month of forming an alliance, they began to expand their territories frantically. A single Four Emperors is no different from the Emperor of the Sea known as King Landing New World. Needless to say, there are two Four Emperors, and they are also two existences full of ambitions. Therefore, BIGMOM took advantage of the Tea Party, held once a year by Wang Guo, and forcibly turned many forces that were originally peer-to-peer into subordinates. Just as BIGMOM hopes to get Vince McKay's family army in the future through marriage. Before BIGMOM needed to take some things into consideration, but after forming an alliance with Kaido, Charlotte Te00 will no longer have so many worries. Advertisement. For a time, with Charlotte Linlin's own power covering 34 islands in the All Nations territory, coupled with Kaido's man-made demon fruit power. This pirate alliance faintly has signs of becoming the #1 force in the New World. This kind of practice is tantamount to accelerating the subversion of New World, and it is a fact that the world government absolutely cannot allow. So in the 5th month, world government exposed the hidden combat power of CPO and the new Admiral Fujitora smiled and Green Bull. A great battle successfully swept almost half of the New World forces. In this battle, except for the red-haired and powerful Whitebeard who can avoid this storm, the other forces are not so lucky. Under pressure from the world government and the Four Emperors Alliance. Some kingdoms and some underground forces can only choose to stand in line, one after another. As a result, these people naturally became the cannon fodder of this war. The battle between the world government and the Four Emperors Alliance lasted for nearly 2 months before it ended. Although the specific results have not been announced to the entire world, the Four Emperors Alliance has stopped expanding. Obviously who won, or paid a certain price, has given people vague guesses. Follow closely. It was after this great war that Neo Marine was exposed to the world. Previously, Zephyr was awarded Marine as Marine Admiral, which shocked the whole world, but since Zephyr is old, even if a newborn Marine is established, it should not be able to compete with the Marine government and world government. This is the tacit fact of some forces. However, no one expected that after the war between the world government and the two Four Emperors Pirate Alliance, Zephyr would openly recruit troops. Advertisement. This move by Zephyr is undoubtedly standing on the opposite side of the Marine government and the world government. Whether it is the Marine government or the world government, it is naturally impossible to allow this kind of thing to happen. But then, something interesting happened. The figure of the Revolutionary Army actually appeared in the new Neo Marine. Subsequently, at this time, it is the last month of the 1-year agreement with Sengoku. The Revolutionary Army will find cooperation with people from Neo Marine. Robin sat gracefully on the edge of the coffee table. She looked at the newspaper published by the World Economic News this morning in her hand, with a hint of surprise in her eyes. Although she didn't know the true strength of the Revolutionary Army undoubtedly had a strong influence. In the past year, Robin has noticed that the Revolutionary Army has done a lot of things to liberate certain kingdoms, so as to accumulate foundations against the world government. However, the Revolutionary Army will choose to cooperate with the new Marine NEO, which is definitely not just something she expected things. 0. An enemy's enemy is a friend. Given the situation of the Revolutionary Army, it would be great if Neo Marine could help them. Bai Ye, who seemed younger than before, looked at Robin and said with a smile. Robin nodded when she heard the words. She was thoughtful. The Revolutionary Army has taken advantage of the turmoil in the world government to do a lot of things in the past year. Now that a big war has just ended, it is inevitable to deal with the trouble of the Revolutionary Army, and Neo Marine is tantamount to openly standing on the opposite side of the Marine government and the world government. If the Revolutionary Army wants to choose someone who can help them in the world, Neo Marine is undoubtedly a good choice. But, advertisement. Robin has been with Bai Ye for so long, and she has also keenly noticed the words, if it can help, in Bai Ye's mouth. I am afraid, even if the Revolutionary Army and Neo Marine have contact, it should not be so smooth. Robin crossed his legs and lowered his head in thought. Naturally, Robin didn't know that Bai Ye knew a lot about the original future as a time traveler. Although the original direction of the whole world has changed greatly. But some people's personalities don't change easily. For example, the establishment of the new Neo Marine, renamed the Wet Method. After Zephyr's doubts about Marine's faith reached the peak, Zephyr had become a completely different person when he judged Marine. Just like Zephyr changed its name to Z, it symbolizes that Zephyr has chosen to abandon everything in the past of 1.1. The current Zephyr is Z, and it is no longer the so-called, don't kill, Admiral. Therefore, in the original plot, after Zephyr founded Neo's newborn Marine and fell silent for 2 years, Zephyr's goal was already to destroy the entire new world. Whether it's pirates, kingdoms, or some ordinary people, Zephyr doesn't care anymore. It can be seen from here that Zephyr is no longer the original Zephyr, but a brand new Z. Therefore, since Long failed to find him and chose to cooperate with Zephyr temporarily, I am afraid that when Long Mingbai Zephyr is also using the Revolutionary Army, Long will definitely regret it. Of course, these things haven't happened yet, Bai Ye doesn't care, and he won't remind the Revolutionary Army either. Compared to these, Bai Ye's Sky Dragon slaying magic progress at this time, 89%. 092. Dragon Power. The Power of Dragon. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Open black lens bracket Dragon Slayer magic in the sky. Proficiency 89%. Close black lens bracket. In the past year, when the whole world was in great turmoil, Bai Ye's mastery of Sky Dragon slaying magic was also increasing rapidly. Compared with before, the Sky Dragon slaying magic has reached a terrifying 89% proficiency at this time. Compared with before, Bai Ye's strength has also ushered in a new height. Needless to say, the basic sky dragon slaying magic, Bai Ye has basically mastered it. Secondly, there are also the lost ancient sky healing magic, the power of dragon slaying, the profound meaning of sky dragon slayer, etc., which have gradually fully awakened. In addition, Bai Ye had successfully awakened the dragon power when the sky dragon slayer magic reached 85% a month ago, which is considered to be the last and most powerful form that dragon slayers can achieve. It is said that the dragon power awakener can have the power comparable to that of a real dragon. In Bai Ye's understanding, it is somewhat similar to the awakening of Devil Fruit's ability. This ability, for Bai Ye whose physique has already surpassed that of a giant dragon, naturally not only can only reach the level of comparable to a giant dragon. Bai Ye has a vague feeling that it may be because his dragon-slaying magic itself does not belong to the power system of this world, so the system has undergone slight changes. For example, there has never been a dragon slayer in Bai Ye who can't adapt to these surprising weaknesses of vehicles, nor has he turned into a giant dragon because the dragon slayer magic has reached 100 progress, and so on. After all, according to the main reason why the dragon slayer magic user becomes a dragon, it is because the dragon buried a dragon seed when teaching the dragon slayer magic to humans, and this dragon seed will accompany the dragon slayer constantly. Use the magic power of dragon slayer to grow gradually. Advertisement. First, scales appear on the face, then spread to the arms, body, and dragon wings appear. Finally, when the dragon slayer reaches a certain limit, the dragon seed will completely break out of the shell, making the master of dragon slayer magic eventually become a dragon. However, Bai Ye's power is obtained by the system, so these problems should not exist. His strength and our physique, are in the true sense, completely comparable in all aspects, and even surpass the real fairy tale world dragon, but only showed it to others in the appearance of a human. But, with the awakening of dragon power, Bai Ye discovered that he should have a system-modified dragon-slaying magic, which can be used as a basis to activate the dragon form of the dragon slayer. After all, the complete dragon form, in a sense, is the peak strength of a real dragon slayer magic user. Of course, this does not mean that Longwa might be the strongest. The gigantic dragon form may bring a range of destructive power and a stronger posture that the human form cannot match. But relatively everything has advantages and disadvantages. The simplest example, if you turn on the dragon form, there will be no battle at sea, Bai Ye will destroy his own ship first. This is not what Bai Ye wants to see. Of course, dragon transformation is just a feeling for Bai Ye at the moment. After all, although the new world has been in constant turmoil in the past year, Marine did not come to provoke Bai Ye. The pirates of the Grand Line had already fled the first time they saw the shadow of Bai Ye's ship. The opponent to fight, although Bai Ye's strength has definitely become stronger this year. Advertisement. But as for the concept of how strong it is, since there is no opponent, Bai Ye does not have a good reference. Even if Bai Ye has tried to see if he has the chance to meet the Golden Lion, it is a pity that there is basically no news about the Golden Lion in the past year. Even if Bai Ye is, blatantly, in the East Blue between the Grand Line, he has never heard of the Golden Lion. News. On this point, Bai Ye also contacted Weibo in New World, and the same is true. Not surprisingly, according to Bai Ye's guess, the Golden Lion may not be far away even if he is not dead. Certainly, although there is no opponent worthy of real strength right now. But Bai Ye believes that there will be soon. Aren't New World's Kaido and Big Mom very popular now? Wait until you get back to the New World. Bai Ye was on the deck of the summit. At this time, he felt that because of the sky's dragon-slaying magic, he came from the gift from the sky, and his knowledge had reached the extreme of a terrifying range. Bai Ye is thinking whether it is time for Kaido to change his name to 037 when he returns to New World. The world's strongest creature in the sea, land and air, is Kaido a fake insect? Advertisement. Immediately. At this time, Robin put down the newspaper in her hand and took off her sunglasses, her eyes were not looking at Bai Ye. It is a place where Bai Ye prepares for the last journey before returning to the New World. Amazon Lily. They will come here. One is the calm belt located in the territory of Amazon Lily daughter country. She used to come here before to improve the magic of dragon slaying in the sky. The second is the invitation from Snake Princess. A month ago, Bai Ye successfully solved a group of smuggled slave traders here, and accidentally met the Amazon Lily who was patrolling the calm belt. Therefore, Amazon Lily sent an invitation to Bai Ye. Speaking of which, this is the first time that Amazon Lily has issued an invitation to a man. Of course, in the face of the legendary man's paradise, the man who can leave this matter behind for a month, looking at the whole world, as only Bai Ye himself. 093. Daughter Country. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. At the same time, Amazon Lily Calm Belt Territory. Daughter Country. That lord is finally coming, and this concubine finally has a chance to see that lord again. Shiji, don't get too excited, as the emperor of the Daughter Kingdom, don't forget your image as an emperor. Here at the Nine Snake Island Palace, a short, white-haired mother-in-law poked her head out of the window, apparently crawling in from a very high place outside. This dust-shaking old lady is none other than the former third-generation Nine Snake Island Emperor, Granny Za. At this moment, my mother-in-law looked at an extremely beautiful woman with long black hair, and she just finished speaking seriously. Then, the extremely beautiful woman's forehead went black when she heard the words. She grabbed Grandma Z by the collar and threw her out of the window. Then, less than 10 seconds later, Granny Wei crawled back with black lines all over her forehead. But when she noticed Shiji's movements, her mother-in-law hurriedly stepped back and coughed lightly, and said, Shiji, if you are not satisfied, let me put it another way, that man is a very dangerous existence, and I must remind you of this. As she said that, Granny Za showed seriousness on her serious face and said, and Shiji, don't forget that you still have the identity of 7 warlords of the sea, although Marine hasn't done anything to that man in the past year. However, whether it is the Marine that has already suffered from that man, or the world government, it is doomed that this matter is not over yet. The frequent actions of the world government in the past year have proved this point, so. Advertisement. If you have contact with that man, you have to understand that you are very likely to be targeted by Marine, and even lose the privileged status of Shichibukai, which can protect Snake Island. After the mother-in-law finished speaking, seeing that Snake G seemed to have fallen silent, the mother-in-law was relieved. Although Snake Princess is usually a very proud woman, she does everything well from the standpoint of Nine Snake Island, which is why Hancock became the Emperor of Nine Snake Island. But just when Grandma Yi breathed a sigh of relief, the extremely beautiful woman in front of her shook her head. She turned around and said, that's why I can't help but hate you, an old woman. Single quote. After the words fell, Hancock was sitting in the palace room, half of her body was in the shadows, she raised her slender white legs, stretched out her hand to slightly hold one side of her suffocating delicate face, and then, staring at Grandma Z, she slowly said. You seem to have forgotten one thing. The reason why my concubine was entrusted as one of the 7 warlords of the sea, is not the 9 Snake Pirates, nor the power of 9 Snake Island, but purely because of the strength of the concubine. Quote. The tone is a little arrogant. When Grandma Za closed her mouth, Hancock looked out the window at the blue calm belt sea outside Hydra Island, and continued. I believe that you, an old woman, have also felt it. The recent actions of the world government and the Marine government have become more and more frequent. There is a sign that a storm is coming. I said these words to you, an old woman, just to tell you. The concubine is not that stupid. Quote. So, now, can you let it go? The mother-in-law fell into silence for a few seconds. Advertisement. Afterwards, Granny Z raised her head and met Hancock's calm eyes. Immediately, Granny Z sighed. Yes, how could she not know that under the frequent actions of the world government and the Marine government, there will definitely be great changes in the future. The reason she came here was to prevent Shiji from being involved in these disputes. But after this conversation, she found that it seemed impossible to change Snake G's determination. Afterwards, seeing Hancock stepping outside, Grandma Z sighed and said, Snake Girl, are you still unable to let go of the past? After the words fell, Hancock's movements paused slightly, and then a flash of coldness appeared in his eyes. Although Hancock didn't speak, he chose to leave the palace straight away, but her mother-in-law already knew the answer. The reason why Shiji is so proud is because of her past experiences that made her choose this path. Do not want to be dominated by any force. Subsequently. Amazon Lily Daughter Country. Côte d'Azur port here. A ship was approaching, and many female fighters could already see curious or excited eyes. Because in order to protect the people, Daughter Country chose to prohibit the citizens from traveling at will, so many women have never seen a man. In addition, even if the 9 Snake Pirates are very big, it is impossible to bring everyone, so when they heard that a man was invited by Lord Snake, many people couldn't help but ran over. Advertisement. On the deck of the summit. It seems that you are very popular with the women here. If you are right, this should be the rumored Daughter Country. Quote. Robin is sitting at the coffee table where she usually reads at the moment. She is looking at the beautiful scenery of 9 Snake Island, and her eyes can't help showing a trace of curiosity. As a scholar, Robin definitely knows about the Daughter Country. But Robin's knowledge comes from the books, because Daughter Kingdom announced the behavior of closing the country, in order to protect it a few generations ago. Therefore, this place is not only for Robin, but also for the outside world, it is also a magistrate full of mystery. For men, it is vaguely described by legends as men's heaven, the king's hall. Robin thought of this, and the identity of the host who invited her and Bai Ye this time. Robin couldn't help lifting his chin, looking at Bai Ye with a hint of anticipation, interest, in his eyes. It seemed that this trip might have something worth looking forward to. Robin lifted the hair at the base of his ears, and the corner of his mouth slightly raised a dark arc, thinking of this. But when she noticed Bai Ye's playful gaze, Robin's ears couldn't help but turn slightly red. Every time she sees this look, she knows. The idea came to this point, but fortunately at this time, as the ship docked, there were 2 female fighters from 9 Snake Island waiting to be received. It means that she and Bai Ye came to this mysterious kingdom, Amazon Lily located in Calm Belt, which is also the rumored Daughter Kingdom. 094. Meet the Empress, the most beautiful woman in the world, Boa Hancock. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Amazon Lily, daughter country. One of the two female warriors leading the way had slightly curly blonde short hair, and the other was taller and wearing a hat. The two female fighters, Bai Ye, recognized each other's identity after a little thought. It is the female 9 Snake Island warriors who have appeared on the stage, Margaret and Yafilandola. Similarly, they also have their own lion majesty wrapped around their bodies, which is one of the symbols of the best warriors in the Daughter Kingdom. Their arrival was naturally when they heard that many citizens of the Daughter Kingdom had gathered at the port to help Bai Ye on his way. After all, the Empress is here to greet each other. Although they have no interest in Bai Ye, since it is the invitation of the Empress, they have to show the highest reception etiquette of the daughter country for the Empress. And about the deeds of this dangerous man, they have also heard from the mother-in-law. They will lead the way. Either ordinary members of the 9 Snake Pirates will lead the way, or the mother-in-law specially told them. In addition to leading the way, they are also responsible for responding immediately in case this dangerous man makes any move. Margaret and Yafilandola's inadvertent little actions naturally cannot be hidden from Bai Ye and Robin. But Bai Ye 800 didn't care. As an outsider, it's normal for the 9 Snake Islands national defenders to be vigilant, as long as the other party doesn't do something that touches his bottom line. Bai Ye doesn't care. Subsequently, advertisement. Under the sight of many women who came to the port of Daughter Country to see the novelty, Bai Ye's boat was guarded by another soldier who defended the country, and Bai Ye passed through the port under the guidance of Margaret. I met the real inviter this time, the Empress known as the most beautiful woman in the world, Boa Hancock. She has long black hair, combed in G hairstyle, tall, with snow-like skin, dark blue eyes, a pair of snake-shaped gold earrings on small earlobes, and an Empress's cold, arrogant and exquisite face. It has to be said, looking at the Empress standing on both sides of the 9 Snake Pirates standing up to greet her, at this distance, Hancock is indeed worthy of the title of the most beautiful woman in the world. Just the temperament exuded on the body alone can make people feel that it is a completely different type from Robin. Of course, Bai Ye didn't show an annoying salivating look like some novels. After getting Robin, Bai Ye stayed more in admiration of Hancock's appearance. DADG. Moreover, when the strength reaches his level, in fact, no matter what kind of beauty it is essentially just a thought. To ask the other party to be his own woman, Hancock actually has no room to resist. An unreasonable person, see my elder sister. Here in Daughter Kingdom, the person who spoke was Hancock's younger sister Boya Sandersonia. Seeing her elder sister's palms on her chest, she clenched slightly, and mistook that the man in front of her had used some kind of enchantment, so she couldn't help but drink. But at the same moment, Sandersonia felt the dangerous aura from Bai Ye and Hancock's retreat. Sister. Sandersonia couldn't help hesitating. When she saw her elder sister's eyes, she had no choice but to believe her elder sister and nodded. Afterwards, Sandersonia stepped back, and Hancock also recovered the temperament of an empress dominating her daughter's country. Looking at Bai Ye like this, she took a slow breath. Then, she made a move that shocked the Kuja pirates. Advertisement. I saw Hancock stepping up to Bai Ye. She lowered her head slightly and apologized. Please forgive my sister's disrespect. The voice fell, and with Hancock's silence, the eyes of the two sisters behind showed a hint of horror, and the members of the 9 Snake Pirates couldn't help but change their expressions one after another, ready to take out their weapons. But the next moment, when they felt the aura emanating from the Empress, they could only stare at Bai Ye. Naturally, the citizens of 9 Snake Island couldn't see this scene. At this time, Granny Z was in a far corner. Seeing Snake G's actions, she couldn't help but shook the cane in her hand. Granny Z immediately couldn't help but sighed. She knew that Shi was already the emperor of 9 Snake Island in the true sense, and she was far better than all the female emperors of 9 Snake Island in the past. For the sake of the people of 9 Snake Island, Snake G's behavior seems unacceptable, but it is true that Sandersonia offended that dangerous man first, and if that man gets angry because of this, it will definitely be the worst result. Moreover, it is almost absolutely impossible for Snake G's haughty character to reveal that attitude. But it is precisely because of this that the residents of 9 Snake Island will not see this scene, so when Snake G apologized, she also preserved the dignity of being the emperor of 9 Snake Island in the hearts of the people. This approach is already the best choice. However, even so, the moment Granny Yi saw that Snake G's cold and arrogant character would make the move just now, Granny Yi was shocked from the bottom of her heart. She couldn't help but recall Snake G's words that concubines are definitely not stupid people. Subsequently, because of this episode, the second meeting between Hancock and Bai Ye came to an end soon. Hancock would apologize in person, which was indeed beyond Bai Ye's expectations. Bai Ye was a person who knew the Empress's character well, so he forgave Sandersonia. Advertisement. And from this meeting, Bai Ye also felt it. Hancock is completely different from the free giving shown in the animation. This feeling can only be felt when you really touch Hancock. After all, Hancock, as the Empress of 9 Snake Island, the Empress who dominates the Daughter Kingdom, can also deal with the two major forces of Marine and 4 Emperors as the third force. If Hancock is really brainless, it is naturally impossible for him to become the Emperor of 9 Snake Island. The power of one's own efforts changed the past of Jew Snake Island, which once experienced emperors. At this time, after meeting Hancock, Bai Ye is sitting on the natural hot spring side of Jew Snake Island, thinking about what to do in the next month. At present, there is only 1 month left in the so-called deal between him and Sengoku. After 1 month, the marshal will naturally be reassigned by Akainu, and the deal will naturally be cancelled. Right now, Marine has gradually returned to a stronger stage through the world conscription plan. But in contrast, Bai Ye's proficiency in Sky Dragon slaying magic has reached an astonishing 89%. Originally, Bai Ye was thinking about where to improve the progress of the final Sky Dragon Slayer magic in the last month. But now that we have come to Nine Snake Island, it is in the calm belt itself, and with sea kings all around, it is close to the new world climate. Perhaps, the next one with him and Robin could work out here. 1 month, which also means that 1 month later will be the time for Bai Ye to return to New World. After all, Bai Ye had been quiet for almost a year before he wanted to come. Marine is about the same, and so are New World's pirates. Then, it's about time for Bai Ye to give this world a gift from the devil that has been silent for a long time. 095. Gloriosa, let Bai Ye contact the remnants of Nine Snake Island. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Thereafter, Bai Ye was soaking in the hot spring, and looked up at the good environment and weather around Nine Snake Island. After he thought about the next thing, Bai Ye took out the newspaper published by the World Economic News that Robin bought this morning. Although limited by the development of this era, many major events can only be seen through newspaper news, which leads to the fact that after most events happen, the whole world needs about 1 to 3 days to know, but it is enough for Bai Ye up. Of course, it would be wrong to believe all the news in this newspaper. From the perspective of Bai Ye's previous life, Morgan's is a standard shocker. As long as the news sells well, Morgan's doesn't care about adding some exaggerated news to some events themselves. For example, from the newspaper in his hand, Bai Ye saw that the world government had won the alliance with the 4 emperors, and that it was about to launch operations against the newborn Neo Marine, former Admiral Zephyr, and the Revolutionary Army, with some top-secret plans. The world government will not sit still. Bai Ye still has some credibility. But Morgan's can get the world government's plan. Seeing this standard headline, Bai Ye continues to read. Sure enough, this plan was actually a part of the plan that the world government made to deal with Kaido and Charlotte Linlin. Morgan's didn't even cover up the intercepted part, and it was just a world government plan. It was really a good idea. Immediately, Bai Ye briefly glanced at the recent news from all over the world, and then put down the newspaper. 1 month, and then just 1 month. Compared with these outside news, the only thing Bai Ye is looking forward to now is how proficient his Sky Dragon slaying magic will be in a month. Then, advertisement. After Bai Ye thought about the things for nearly a month, the sky was getting dark. Bai Ye touched his chin, stood up and exposed water drops flowing down the perfect muscle lines. Bai Ye came to the palace of Nine Snake Island and saw Robin, who was looking at the buildings here, and hugged Robin directly without waiting for Robin's reaction. Anyway, for his own woman, Bai Ye naturally doesn't mind being seen by other women in the palace of Nine Snake Island. Time moves. A beautiful night. Early the next morning, Bai Ye woke up in the room placed in the palace of the Nine Snakes Island. Without disturbing Robin, Bai Ye got up and walked out of the room. The morning sun of Nine Snakes Island shone on the bare upper body, and Bai Ye could see some Nine Snake Island palace guards passing by blushed, or looked curious and ran away quickly. Bai Ye showed a hint of playfulness. As for the Nine Snake Island warriors that my mother-in-law secretly arranged to come here yesterday, he has long since disappeared. After all, that kind of undisguised movement probably caused a lot of shock to most of the female fighters living here on Nine Snake Island, who are still very pure in heart, let alone listen to the corner all night. Subsequently, Bai Ye put on a white shirt, thinking about talking to Hancock today, and possibly borrowing the environment of Amazon Lily for the next month. However, shortly after Bai Ye stepped out of the room, what he saw was not Hancock, but a short white-haired old woman standing in front of him. Bai Ye had an impression of this figure who was peeping from a distance yesterday. Not surprisingly, the little old woman in front of me is the emperor before the 3rd generation of Jew Snake Island, her mother-in-law, whose real name is Gloriosa. Gloriosa is definitely not as strong as the current Empress Hancock in old age, but Gloriosa, as the emperor before the former 3rd generation emperor of Nine Snake Island, has always played a strategic role in Nine Snake Island. In order to make up for a mistake made during his reign and to respect the current emperor Hancock, Gloriosa usually lives alone and low-key in a corner of the village of Nine Snake Island. Advertisement. Therefore, she seldom shows up at ordinary times. It can be said that she has been secretly playing the role of Hancock's national teacher, and giving appropriate advice to Snake Princess, who is Shichibukai. The previous summit war to participate in the proposal was proposed by Gloriosa to continue to keep the agreement between Nine Snakes and the government, and in the original book, he worried that if the Empress lost the title of 7 Warlords of the Sea, the country would return to the ordinary country of pirates has been invaded by Marine all day long. It can be said that the short, white-haired old woman in front of her is one of the few characters in this world who has the wisdom, strategy and foresight of the previous rulers. And, Gloriosa stood in front of Bai Ye, so she must have something to say. Seeing the female guards of the Nine Snake Island Palace passing by, her mother-in-law bowed her head to her, and her mother-in-law nodded her head. This is the identity of the former emperor before the third generation, and it is normal for these people to know her. Afterwards, Granny Z looked at Bai Ye, she bowed her head politely, and said, I'm very sorry that I invite you to come to this country. It's nothing, actually I like the environment here too, Bai Ye said. The mother-in-law was stunned when she heard the words, and then a trace of solemnity gradually appeared in her eyes, and she said, the other thing is that I want to thank you for forgiving Santa Sonia's offense yesterday. I know very well that it is actually a big mistake to invite a monster like you to come to this country. A very dangerous behavior. Monster. I shouldn't be that scary, right? Bai Ye couldn't help touching his face. Although what he did really shook the world, but it was the first time Bai Ye met people who were called monsters. Gloriosa shook her head and said, this is because of the mistakes I made, which made Ju Snake Island closed for too long, and many soldiers don't know much about the outside world. 0 for flowers. She continued. Although I don't know much about you, from your experience, I can probably guess that you should have already stood at the top level of the group of monsters in the world, perhaps. Over the years, you will be stronger. Okay, I'll take it as approval. Is there anything else you want to say? Bai Ye nodded, acquiescing to what Grandma Z said. Seeing Bai Ye, it wasn't difficult for Grandma Z to communicate. Grandma Z looked around at the deserted palace. She thought of some information about Bai Ye that she asked Rayleigh to investigate. After hesitating for a moment, she slowly stated the purpose of the trip. Advertisement. To put it simply, Granny Z can replace what Hancock promised Bai Ye to do on Nine Snakes Island. But relatively speaking, as long as Bai Ye does not do anything that endangers Nine Snake Island. These conditions are naturally not a problem for Bai Ye. However, in the end, it was the real purpose of Granny Z's trip. Grandma Z told Bai Ye a story. This story is about a top-secret incident on Ju Snake Island more than 10 years ago. Granny Z will reveal to Bai Ye in a tactful way the reason for this event that is considered a taboo event on Nine Snake Island. One is that my mother-in-law understands that Bai Ye is not a demon of the era as promoted by the world government or the marine government. A man who can become friends with Whitebeard is definitely not an evil incarnation. The second is that my mother-in-law hopes that after Bai Ye understands why Snake G is so arrogant, Bai Ye can forgive Snake G if she offends something in the next month. The third point, which is the most important point, is that the mother-in-law actually hopes that Nine Snake Island can be related to day and night. Hancock's willful actions during this trip certainly cannot be hidden from the marine government. Once Hancock loses her status as a Shichibukai, although the mother-in-law knows that the Empress ascended to the position of Shichibukai because of her strength, she also sees the fact that the marine government and the world government have been accumulating strength over the past year. Therefore, she needs to consider an extra retreat. However, most of New World 4 Emperor's sites are located in New World. Nine Snakes Island is located in the Calm Belt, the first half of the Grand Line. This is a place that is almost isolated from the outside world, so yesterday's mother-in-law cherishes every share from the outside world. News. Therefore, in this situation, if Marine invades, there will be no power around to help Nine Snake Island. Nine Snake Island can alone resist the two behemoths of Marine or world government. It is precisely because of this that before the birth of the Emperor of Shiji, Ju Snake Island was closed for several generations because of a mistake she made, and it has gradually become a rumored place to the outside world. Therefore, until the arrival of Bai Ye, my mother-in-law had a new idea. 096. Grandma's decision, stupid Martial Marine has never been seen in history, except Akainu. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. At this time, Grandma Z did not hesitate to offend the rights of the current emperor of Nine Snake Island, so she came to find Bai Ye. The reason is to know Bai Ye's attitude and the possibility of her thinking. As the emperor of the daughter kingdom before the third generation, Granny Za has seen too many turmoil in the world, and also witnessed the fall of countless so-called strong men in this sea. Even if they are as strong as the big pirates of the old era, even if they can suppress the marine government, when faced with the world government behind the marine government, they will still be destroyed in the end, and even the message of existence will be erased. Therefore, although the mother-in-law will not interfere with Hancock's rights on the surface, since she is playing the role of national teacher, she needs to be a national teacher to take more tests. In the end, there are two ways to get in touch with Bai Ye. One of the 893 is that Ju Snake Island became Bai Ye's affiliated pirate group, which is the most common way why the New World 4 Emperor's power is so huge. With this layer of connection, whether it is the marine government or the world government, even if the title of Empress Shichibukai is deprived, the existence of Bai Ye must also be considered. The most important thing is that according to Granny Za's understanding, Bai Ye currently does not have any affiliated pirates. If Bai Ye is willing, Ju Snake Island can become one of the important forces in the future of day and night. However, this method is feasible, but it is precisely because she knows Hancock's past that Hancock's character becomes so arrogant. The purpose is to not want to be dominated by any force in this world. Therefore, there is no way for my mother-in-law to bring this matter up. The best way is for her to come to Bai Ye and make an agreement between Daughter Kingdom and Bai Ye. As for another way, that's why Granny Ye told Bai Ye about the past incident that almost no one knew about on Nine Snake Island, but it was regarded as an absolute taboo. Advertisement. If Hancock had a relationship with the man in front of him, he would naturally not need the first method. But even if this thing can be done, Bai Ye will definitely find some clues about Shiji's past, so although my mother-in-law knows that Shiji's usual style is very strong and arrogant. However, when it comes to the past, Snake Ji is not as strong and arrogant in her heart as her appearance. And these things, the last thing my mother-in-law wants to see is that these things will plant some foreshadowing for the future. Therefore, after careful consideration, Granny Z chose to meet Bai Ye before Snake Ji discussed matters. It has to be said that, as a character with little strategy and foresight in this world, Granny Z didn't really have time for a month after she knew that Bai Ye would come to Nine Snake Island, and that Snake Ji sent the invitation. Investigate, consider, and ponder the way forward for Hydra. In the end, my mother-in-law chose this path at this time. In front of the real strong, open the card is the best choice. Of course, this premise is also the conclusion that my mother-in-law came to after careful thinking. At this time, the Nine Snake Island Palace arranged for Bai Ye to live here. After the mother-in-law stated her purpose here, the solemnity on the mother-in-law's face has become serious. It proved that although Bai Ye stood in front of her and looked like an elderly little old woman, she could prove that everything she considered was serious. You don't need to reply to me first. I know that these requests may be unfair, but if you want to stay here for a month, I can wait for your decision at any time. 1 inch. Advertisement. Granny Z looked at Bai Ye, who was thinking. She bent her short figure slightly, which already represented her attitude of bowing her head as the former emperor of the third generation, and Granny Z disappeared here. It can be seen that although the mother-in-law is getting old, she still has the strength and athleticism of a nine-snake warrior. And after Granny Ye left, Bai Ye was also thinking about this issue. It is not that Bai Ye has not considered the subsidiary forces, but what Bai Ye chose is that as long as his strength is strong enough that no force can ignore it, he can ignore any force. Therefore, Granny Wei's first proposal is actually dispensable to Bai Ye. As for the two, Bai Ye glanced up at the sky. He was expected to stay on this island for a month. The time is short, but it is not short. From her mother-in-law, Bai Ye learned that in the past, Hancock and his two younger sisters became slaves of the nobles of the world due to an accident when he left the island privately. Although it was 3 years later, he returned to Amazon Lily because of the arson incident in the Holy Land 16 years ago. 0. But it is precisely because of the events at the beginning and the imprint that cannot be erased that Hancock is now proud, because he does not want to be dominated by any force. Therefore, Bai Ye had a new impression of the Empress through this incident. Although he is a time traveler, the original book and the world in which he has changed history are completely different experiences. Whether it is Robin, Whitebeard, or the Empress, only when you really get in touch with each other can you truly understand a person. Ed. When Bai Ye saw the Empress again, Bai Ye didn't talk about what he had just met Grandma Ye. Advertisement. And this contact with Hancock. Hancock is much better than yesterday because of her younger sister. She will ask Bai Ye about the situation in the past year and some topics. Generally speaking, Bai Ye's feelings towards the Empress are pretty good. Even though Bai Ye knew that the Empress' favor might have come from something about the Summit War. However, Bai Ye thought of what her mother-in-law told just now, if she wanted to stay in the daughter's country for a month. He didn't mind giving Hancock a present in front of him at this moment. Thereafter, here at Naval Headquarters, when Marine got the news that Empress Shichibukai invited Bai Ye to enter the territory. Naval Headquarters has been silent for nearly a year, and it is about to usher in liberation. The World 5.5 Great Conscription Plan has come to an end at this time. Marine's force has expanded to a stronger state than Summit War. And, because Akainu has been Sengoku's interim marshal for the past year, he, the marshal who has been ignored for nearly a year as a real card, is almost approaching the outbreak period. Although the entire Naval Headquarters has gone through this year, the hearts of the people clearly agree with the old Marshal Sengoku, but under the pressure of the world government, it is inevitable that Akainu will be the marshal again. Moreover, with Akainu's personality, the atmosphere among the entire Naval Headquarters senior management is also slowly fluctuating. Almost all Marine executives have faintly noticed that with Akainu continuing to become the marshal, Marine will have many troubles in the future. After all, stupid Marines are almost never seen in Marine history. The premise is, except, Akainu. 097. Then there were 3 incidents in a row. It was because of the most beautiful woman in the world that she was matched with her domineering man. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Time began to move. With the arrival of the last month of the year, the whole world is faintly aware of the signs before the storm. Within a month, one after another, major incidents occurred one after another. First, the actions of the Revolutionary Army were exposed in North Blue, and the Marine government mobilized forces to encircle and suppress. But during the siege, the new Marine NEO, led by the former Admiral Zephyr, suddenly appeared and blocked Marine's forces in the middle. Immediately afterwards, the battle continued for a day and a night, and the world government also dispatched hidden forces. As a result, the battle between the Revolutionary Army and the new Marine NEO and the Marine government lasted for nearly a week, and Admiral Kizaru took action to stop the shock. As a result, Neo Marine began to retreat as Marine continued to invest in troops, ending with the retreat of the Revolutionary Army. Once this incident spread to the world, it undoubtedly aggravated the dignity of many forces. Because Marine can condense such a huge power one after another, it is undoubtedly announcing to the whole world. Marine's strength has almost recovered to what it was a year ago, and even 30% compared to some at war. Marine's strength will be stronger than before. Advertisement. Amazon Lily. Marine has been silent for a year. Is it finally showing its fangs? 9 Snake Island, daughter country. A short, white-haired old woman took the newspaper from Robin, and looked at the news released this morning, but the old woman showed a bit of dignity. Marine has suddenly become high-profile recently, and it is undoubtedly announcing to the world that Marine's military strength has returned to its peak after the world's large conscription plan, and it is even stronger than before. Then, this makes people think of the reason why Marine has been silent for so long for a year. Bai Ye. The mother-in-law lowered her head and thought, she was sure that with Marine's style, and Akainu, who was known as the most extreme marshal in history, it was absolutely impossible to just eat the humiliation brought by that man like this. Moreover, Marine has already heard the news that Snake Princess invited that man to enter the territory of Amazon Lily, but Marine has not moved for a long time, and has not carried out the news of depriving 7 warlords of the sea plan. Also, the sudden truce between World Government, New World Beasts Pirates and BIGMOM Pirates was full of suspicions. Thinking of the many outside news that she got through the newspapers recently, Granny Za is now more certain that her choice will be correct. The world is about to usher in a round of huge shocks, even enough to change the times. Due to the special geographical environment of 9 Snake Island, once the Marine invades, there will be no help around, and there are not many choices left for 9 Snake Island. Until that man came, my mother-in-law saw a new way. At this time, advertisement. The balcony of the Daughter King's palace is here. On the side of Granny Yi, Robin saw Granny Z thinking. Robin looked at the dark cloudy weather in the distance outside 9 Snake Island, and she lowered her head thoughtfully. During the period of coming to the Daughter Kingdom, Robin has already known many secrets about the Daughter Kingdom. And, the white-haired old woman with a short appearance next to her is actually the former emperor of the Daughter Kingdom 3rd generation, Gloriosa. From Granny Yi, Robin has learned a lot of history that only Granny Yi knows, and Robin himself is also full of interest in the mysterious places in the Daughter Country. Perhaps, this is the nature of being a scholar. Of course, in addition to gaining knowledge, Robin is also practicing hockey and the unique female exercise method of the Daughter Country through her mother-in-law and the Empress Hancock. It can be said that Robin is not the same as she was a year ago. After witnessing the battles of the apex monsters in the world, Robin realized that with the current relationship between her and Bai Ye, what kind of behemoths she would face in the future. So, Robin doesn't want to be a problem. Bai Ye is getting stronger, she can see it. Similarly, Robin also hopes to become stronger, even if only a little bit, as long as she can help. It is not enough to just wait and see the battle. Worth to talk about. Robin's talent is actually pretty good, and since 9 Snake Island itself is a country for women, it has a set of exclusive training methods, so Robin's progress in gymnastics and hockey is definitely much faster than Bai Ye's guidance. Bai Ye's idea is still more biased towards the development of flower fruit. Advertisement. Not to mention that my mother-in-law was the emperor before the 3rd generation before 9 Snake Island, and with the Empress Hancock, it is completely no problem to guide Robin to practice. Of course, this is also something that Bai Ye quietly entrusted after seeing her mother-in-law's skills. As for Empress Hancock, Hancock was wary of Robin at the beginning of 360, but after hearing about Robin's experience in the past year, Hancock's current arrogance is actually only on the surface. Not to mention, in fact, that night, Hancock himself was only separated by a rock wall, and the relationship between Bai Ye and Robin was already clear to Hancock. Robin didn't care about Hancock's initial wariness. Because the strength of the mother-in-law and the Empress must be obviously higher than hers, and they are willing to help her practice, Robin is actually very grateful from the bottom of her heart. So that, the corner of Robin's mouth raised a slight arc, she was secretly looking forward to something interesting. Can she remember that someone said that she likes many types of women? From Robin's point of view, Robin thinks Empress Hancock is a good choice. Isn't it because of the most beautiful woman in the world that she is worthy of her domineering man? Thinking of this, Robin closed the newspaper, stood up and buried his thoughts. Speaking of which, she couldn't let go of her practice either. There is still half a month left, and when this month passes, Robin is also looking forward to his improvement here. 098. 99% Sky Dragon Slaying Magic Proficiency, the God Marine who controls the sky is coming. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. 10 days passed by in a flash. The whole world accompanied Marine side to announce to the world that the strength has recovered to what it was a year ago, and even became stronger after that. However, ever since Akainu took over as Marshal of the Marine again, one after another major events in the world have never stopped. And at this time, first half of Grand Line, Calm Belt. Amazon Lily, territory, If someone is in this sea area, they will be shocked that there are people standing in the air, and even walking on the sea surface as if walking on the ground. This kind of thing is absolutely unimaginable for ordinary people. But if you observe carefully, you will find that the man is not standing on the sea out of thin air, but an invisible wind flows around his body, gently supporting the man. And not only that, with the man's footsteps, the surrounding sky gradually began to change, and the air was also rapidly converging towards the man. In the faint, 4 huge terrifying hurricanes formed in the sea area where the man was standing. Once the hurricane is generated, it seems to have the power to destroy the world, exuding a terrifying atmosphere. Then, a terrifying scene appeared. A large amount of seawater was absorbed by the hurricane, blended, and rolled up. Soon, there were 4 hurricanes accompanied by the influx of seawater, and the volume instantly turned into a giant sea tornado connected to the sky. It exudes a destructive atmosphere. Boom. On the sea, there is no need for any doubt. Every sea spout that affects nearly a kilometer of sea area will be the nightmare of any sailing ship. If it hits an island, it may easily swallow up all life on it. Then, this is a magical scene appeared. The man is located in the center of the 4 giant sea spouts that seem to connect to the sky. The 4 sea spouts are like the man's pets. As long as the man has a thought, he can control this terrifying power from nature. At this moment, with the sinking sky and howling wind, the man is like a god who controls the sky. Dragon Slayer magic in the sky, proficiency 99%. This is the Dragon Slayer magic in the sky after almost completely mastering it. Although the proficiency has only increased by 10% compared to before, it is really not the same level as 89 Lang when it is close to complete mastery. Advertisement. The man was Bai Ye, and now Bai Ye was looking at the 4 waterspouts that exuded a destructive aura. Thoughtfully said. Just a 10% gap, the power of the dragon slaying magic, Namikaze, in the sky has increased by at least several times. In addition, according to my previous thinking, the dragon slaying magic in the sky would be affected by the environment, but I think, different environments can also bring unexpected features to the dragon slaying magic in the sky. For example, I can use the power of the wind derives from this and uses the power of the sea. With this thought in mind, Bai Ye glanced at his current progress in mastering the dragon slaying magic in the sky. Immediately, he had a thought, and saw that each of them affected the sea area of nearly 1,000 meters, as if connected to the sky, the giant waterspout exuding a destructive aura dissipated, and the entire turbulent sea area returned to calm again, as if everything just now had disappeared from the sky. Did not appear. What he did just now is naturally a test of Bai Ye's own strength. It's a pity that this place was originally a calm belt. It is reasonable to say that such a big movement would attract countless sea kings. However, after nearly a month of practice, Bai Ye can still see sea kings from the very beginning. Unexpectedly, in a short period of time, the no sea kings dare to come to Pengqi. Bai Ye released the color of knowledge that was enough to cover the entire calm belt around due to the magic of dragon slaying in the sky. Really, such a big calm belt, starting from the place where he usually practiced, stretched tens of thousands of meters of deep sea and surrounding sea areas, and he couldn't find a C5 types. Bai Ye could only sigh secretly. Otherwise, he still wants to find sea kings to practice. After all, looking at the 4 seas in the first half of the Grand Line, in the Amazon Lily Calm Belt, the only thing that Bai Ye can do occasionally is the sea kings. Who knew that it was only nearly a month now, and even the sea kings who wanted to come to Pengqi were gone. Forget it, practice is almost done. Bai Ye secretly sighed a few words. It's a pity that he has no opponents, and prepared to return to the country of daughters to see how Robin's practice has been in the past month. After all, if you calculate the time, it is time to prepare to return to the new world. Bai Ye found the shirt he had put down on a deserted island in the distance. Naturally, this island was originally supposed to be the Beast Island where Luffy practiced, but unfortunately, since Bai Ye just came to put clothes, the beasts here chose to migrate, which made Bai Ye's original interest in the animals here almost dissipated up. Immediately, the white shirt waved and covered the powerful body in the sun. But at this moment, a communication message suddenly came from the blue phone bug in Bai Ye's pocket. Advertisement. Seeing this phone bug, Bai Ye's eyes showed a hint of surprise. He doesn't have a lot of phone bugs. There are 2 in total. One is from the Whitebeard Pirates, the phone bug that Bai Ye used to contact Wable and Whitebeard. The other is the phone bug that Bai Ye borrowed after coming to Nine Snakes Island, and Robin used to contact Bai Ye if something happened. After all, Bai Ye's Sky Dragon Slayer magic has a wide range, so it is naturally impossible to practice beside Nine Snake Island. What surprised Bai Ye was that this phone bug came from New World. Wable, long time no see. Bai Ye followed the phone bug and saw the face image simulated by the phone bug, said with a smile. Brother Bai Ye. How are you? Wable's voice came from the phone bug, looking excited. After all, in Wable's mind, there are only 2 people Wable respects most in the world, one is Bai Ye, and the other is Whitebeard. And Bai Ye, as his number 1 elder brother, Wable misses him very much. I'm all right. What's the matter? Wable. Bai Ye heard Wable's miss, and replied with a smile. Before I knew it, nearly a year had passed. Although Weibo has integrated into the Whitebeard Pirates in the past 10 years, due to Weibo's own strong strength and mental problems, there are not many people in the entire Whitebeard Pirates who really dare to contact Weibo, and most of them are captains. Level. And before Bai Ye left, Marco and his group had almost lost their integrity as a captain. It is conceivable that Weibo must have been annoyed by Marco and his group in the past year. Hearing this, Weibo nodded quickly, and he told a lot of interesting things about Bai Ye leaving the Whitebeard Pirates in the phone bug. For example, Ace's reward has risen to 620 million, while his reward is 590 million. Some Marco and others are going crazy because they can't see Bai Ye. After all, Ace's strength has been guided by Bai Ye, and his strength has soared like a rocket in this year, and he will soon catch up with Marco and the other veteran members who first followed Dad. Advertisement. So when I thought that the opportunity to ask for advice was right in front of me, but this opportunity was not there, it was no wonder that Marco and others were so anxious that they went crazy. After all, no one would feel nervous watching a young junior surpass himself. Of course, after Weibo told these things, Bai Ye listened patiently because he knew Weibo's character. Sure enough, Weibo had a message to pass over. Backquote by the way, brother Bai Ye, Dad asked me to remind you of one thing. A reminder. There was a hint of interest in Bai Ye's eyes. There are not many things that Whitebeard can remind, let alone that Bai Ye knows his strength. It seems that Whitebeard has also faintly noticed it. Bai Ye murmured. Weibo continued to slowly tell a news that could shake the world. Good. Marine seems to have reached some agreements with Kaido and Charlotte Linlin, and Whitebeard reminds Bai Ye to be careful of Marine. Hearing this news, even Bai Ye showed a hint of interest. This news seems extremely outrageous, but considering that the previous world government intervened, Akainu is undoubtedly a loyal dog, this outrageous thing may not be true. And considering the sudden truce between the two sides, there is no doubt that the possibility has been faintly confirmed from the side. Immediately, not long after Bai Ye hung up Weibo's phone bug, Robin also brought a message to Bai Ye in another phone bug located on Nine Snake Island. Marine power has entered the calm belt. Can't sit still so soon. It seems that someone can't wait to die. Bai Ye was slightly taken aback, and shook his hand. It's okay, I just couldn't find a test target. Muttering and speaking, releasing the terrifying knowledge that covered almost all calm belts in the Amazon Lily territory, when Bai Ye felt the unkindness emanating from the distant air, Bai Ye moved his body slowly. No. Just now he was lamenting that he couldn't find a practice hand, but he didn't expect that someone would take the initiative to send him to his door before returning to New World. 28%. 099. The dead have no tomorrow. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Amazon Lily. Daughter country. Mr. Bai Ye, my mother-in-law and the Empress are already waiting for you. Nine Snake Island. Back to the port, Margaret was waiting here early. She looked a little anxious. Obviously, as one of the fighters protecting the country of Nine Snake Island, Margaret also learned the news of Marine's attack. Okay. Bai Ye nodded without wasting time. Then, in Margaret's wide-eyed eyes, wings made of wind appeared behind her, and by the time she realized it, Bai Ye had already disappeared in place. The palace is here. You are here. Grandma Z looked at Bai Ye, leaned over slightly, and her title had quietly changed. Hancock didn't pay attention to Granny Z's little tricks. Now that Marine invaded and Nine Snake Island was mobilized, Hancock has regained her usual aura of Empress pride. These nasty Marines, since they want to die, it's no wonder that I did it myself. Staring at Marine who has invaded the territory of Amazon Lily from the sound shadow phone bug, Hancock's eyes showed a trace of coldness. On the image 983 of the sound and shadow phone bug, there are more than 20 Marine warships, neatly arranged in the sea area. Coupled with the resemblance of bears and pacifists on the deck, Marine's trip was obviously a bad one. Apparently, it seems that these people have forgotten that she will become Shichibukai not because of the beauty of the world, or the Kuzu pirates, or the emperor of the daughter country, but her strength. Advertisement. At this moment, Hancock's aura as an empress was completely exposed in this room. Robin felt the aura of the empress, and the corner of her mouth slightly raised an arc, and she couldn't help looking forward to something more in her heart. Then, in this room, Bai Ye noticed the solemn expression on Granny Z's face. He suddenly said, "Let me handle this matter." After the words were finished, the Empress couldn't help looking over, but Grandma Z stayed for a long time, waiting for Grandma Z to react. A trace of excitement appeared in her eyes. No wonder why my mother-in-law was so excited. If Bai Ye decides to take action to solve these marine troubles at this time, then from the perspective of the outside world, Nine Snake Island is the territory of the man in front of him. Doesn't this mean that Bai Ye in front of him has acquiesced in this point in some way? And, my mother-in-law has never seen Bai Ye make a move with her own eyes, so this is also a good opportunity. But a concubine. The Empress opened her thin lips, but her mother-in-law stopped Hancock in advance. Knowing Hancock's character, Grandma Z secretly pulled Hancock aside, muttered a few words, and immediately after, the Empress, who exuded a strong and arrogant aura, suddenly had slightly red ears, nodded and acquiesced to this matter. Of course, with Bai Ye's knowledge, Grandma's little tricks must not be hidden from Bai Ye. It's just that Bai Ye still pretends that she didn't hear the so-called, muttering content, of her mother-in-law. Let me go and help too. Robin said suddenly, with a faint smile on her delicate face. Immediately, she intertwined her hands, and in the next second, some snow-white arms appeared on Bai Ye's body. Bai Ye felt the power attached to the surface of these arms, and his eyes showed 10 crooked eyes. As this local hockey advertisement. Robin put away his ability, smiled lightly and said, when you become stronger, I can't relax. Okay. Bai Ye released his knowledge, feeling the preparation strength of marine tens of thousands of meters away, and nodded in agreement. When Robin heard this, she smiled, thank you. After the words fell, Robin took the initiative to come over and kiss day and night on the cheek. What Bai Ye said just now made her very happy. Agreeing to her help proves that she finally has a chance to help. If she has been practicing DACD for a long time and has no chance to be useful, then what is the use of practicing? Ahem. At this time, Granny Wei suddenly coughed lightly. Bai Ye noticed that the Empress had been staring at this side from just now, rubbed Robin's hair, and said with a smile, then let's go. After finishing speaking, Bai Ye stretched out his hand to attach the wings condensed with the wind to Robin, Grandma Z, Empress and others. At this time, with the progress of mastering the sky dragon slaying magic, Bai Ye has naturally fully mastered the additional magic. The wings of wind back then could only last for 1 minute for anyone other than Bai Ye. With the current progress of 99, Bai Ye predicts that half an hour should not be too many problems, and this additional magic wing can be freely controlled by the user, which is indeed a very convenient magic. Of course, this move made Grandma Z amazed, but also shocked her heart. According to the information she collected about Bai Ye, she knew how much demon fruit power the man in front of her was. However, she never knew that the other party had a fourth devil fruit ability. As this why it has been silent for nearly a year, in order to master the fourth devil fruit ability. Advertisement. The mother-in-law had an idea in her mind, and the mother-in-law couldn't help but feel terrible. If so, then the Marine or the world government may one day regret it and become an enemy of this dangerous man in front of them. Afterwards, as the Emperor of Nine Snake Island before the third generation, Grandma Za naturally became proficient in controlling this power very quickly. Follow closely. Come to the ship of the Nine Snake Pirates. The members of the Nine Snake Pirates who are already on standby here are waiting, and the Nine Snake Pirates start to set off. If Marine wants to invade, Hancock's idea is to repel them directly, but Granny Z wants to know what purpose these people are aiming at. After all, if these people know that the man is here, Marine should be very clear that it is impossible to win with these troops. With this thought, soon, the border of the Amazon Lily. Bai Ye, Robin, Hancock and others saw the side of this invasion, the Marine under the blue sky. Similarly, these Marines all showed a collective look of incomparable embarrassment when viewed closely. Bai Ye released the color of knowledge and knowledge, thoughtful. It turned out that most of the Sea Kings who had been scared away by his practice had chosen to flee from the calm belt. Therefore, these Marines that should have arrived a week ago, because of the relationship of Sea Kings, forcibly enjoyed a wave of touch porcelain from Sea Kings. However, these are not important anymore. After all, there is no tomorrow for the dead. 100. Colorful Flower Sea. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Amazon Lily, the territory of the Blue Sea. 20 equipped pacifist warships here. Mr. Vice Admiral, this is the sea area where the Nine Snake Pirates are located, and that ship is the Nine Snake Pirates. A Marine stood on the deck, looking solemnly at a man with a tall skull wearing a cloak of justice. The man was wearing a dark green military uniform with 2 extremely long swords around his waist. This outfit was exactly one of the Naval Headquarters Vice Admirals, Stallo Crazy. Stallo Berry has a lot of bloodline on him at this time, as well as on the warship. But these bloodlines are not from Marine, but from the previous Sea Kings who seem to have gone crazy. Although they seem to be in a bit of a panic, as the fleet led by Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, the owner undoubtedly symbolizes the combat power of the mainstay of Naval Headquarters, and naturally there is no problem in solving the Sea Kings. Otherwise, they would not have been sent to perform this task. That's the ship of the Nine Snake Pirates. Wow, I heard that the Empress is the most beautiful woman in the world. Can you see the Empress? If you can see the Empress, even death is enough. Nine Snake Pirates, I didn't expect that one day they would be opposite us. On the warship, whispers continued to sound. Stallo Berry's face was as gloomy as ever. Although through the world's large conscription plan, Marine's military strength has been restored to an unprecedented peak. But because of this, there are many more recruits who have not experienced major incidents. From the appearance of these recruits, Stallo Berry knows that they don't know what they really have to face this time. That woman is very dangerous, not to mention. The man who seems to be still here like a devil. Advertisement. Stallo Berry's thoughts turned, and he stared at the ship of the Nine Snake Pirates pulled by 2 huge sea snakes. He took out the amplifying phone bug from his hands and spread the sound to this sea area. Said in a deep voice. Boa Hancock, Marine arrived here on this trip under the order of the Marine government. Do you know what mistake you made? Wrong. Hancock heard the words, a slightly cold expression appeared on his exquisite face, and then, amidst a burst of cheers from Marine, he stepped forward to stand on the deck. Hancock did not hide the arrogance and coldness in his eyes at all. Amazon Lily is in the territory of the Daughter Kingdom. As the Emperor of Nine Snake Island, I didn't ask you invaders, but Marine spoke first. Do you really think you have the qualifications to question my concubine? The tone was arrogant and domineering. After the words fell, the 20 Marine warships were silent for a few seconds, and then there was a burst of excited cheers, but Stallowberry's heart sank. He knew that the woman in front of him was very dangerous, and he absolutely did what he said. But for planning, Marine, tell us your purpose. Being a concubine can make you die faster. Hancock's voice sounded. Stallowberry knew that the woman in front of him was far more troublesome than he had predicted. Originally, this was a scene where he was supposed to question the Nine Snake Pirates for daring to invite enemies of the Marine government, and then use the world government to deprive Shichibukai of its name as a threat to force Nine Snake Island to bow its head, or even vice versa help them stop that demon. Unexpectedly, with a few words, the other party directly reversed the situation, faintly overpowering Marine. Stallowberry couldn't help but clenched his fist. As the naval headquarters Hawks side, and vice admiral who participated in the Buster call back then, how could he be led by the nose by a woman? Immediately, Stallowberry gritted his teeth and spread his voice. Damn it, Empress, you really betrayed the agreement with the government. Since that's the case. Advertisement. From today, you will be deprived of the title of Shichibukai, and the kingdom under your name will no longer be protected by the government. Prepare to become the enemy of the government with your own pirate country. HMPH, it seems that you Marines have forgotten that the concubine can become a Shichibukai because of the strength of the concubine, and the name of Shichibukai can be withdrawn if you want. The concubine doesn't care at all, it's just a mere name. Seeing Marine showing his fangs, Hancock snorted coldly. Stallowberry was in trouble. He didn't expect this troublesome woman to directly and blatantly choose to defy the Marine government. But now that the words have been said here, he also had to do it. Do it. Stallowberry gritted his teeth and gave the order. 0 for flowers. The 20 search Marine warship was stunned for a moment, and then recovered. They immediately mobilized, activated the pacifist, and filled the artillery fire. 9 Snake Pirates on board. Marine's fangs have been exposed. Grandma Za had been observing Marine's strength, and she sighed when she saw that Stallowberry had made no effort to hide it. The trouble here is caused by me in a sense, so leave it to me. Bai Ye got up and felt that it was almost the same. Since Marine obviously tore apart the purpose, and he is not trying to hide it, it is time for Bai Ye to make a move. Compared with her mother-in-law's resourcefulness, Bai Ye naturally sensed that something was wrong with this batch of Marines. Advertisement. But since someone is going to die, he naturally won't stop it, and it's enough to ask the other party after the solution is finally resolved. Point 0. Let me do it first. Quote. At this time, Robin took a step forward, she looked at Bai Ye, and Bai Ye nodded without refusing. Coincidentally, he also wanted to see what Robin's achievements were in the last month. Immediately, Robin nodded and took a step forward, her blue eyes sized up the 20 Marines in front of her, and she placed her hands in front of her. She slowly said, very purple and red. The voice rang. At the same time, on the 20 search Marine warship, Stallowberry saw Robin's actions, which belonged to Vice Admiral's intuition of danger, which made Stallowberry's heart skip a beat. The next moment, Stallowberry was ready to give the order. But the moment Stallowberry turned his head, the expression on Stallowberry's entire face began to change dramatically. I saw that the countless arms on the 20 Sioux warship were generated out of thin air and derived from various places, blooming beautifully like countless flowers in a flower field, but also full of danger. Then, the beautiful sea of flowers directly engulfs the pacifists, the artillery filled with shells, ordnance, soldiers and so on. Almost in a blink of an eye, the pacifists on 20 warships, artillery fire, weapons, and terrified soldiers were hit hard as never before. And when Stallowberry gritted his teeth and looked at Robin in the distance angrily, Robin also slowly read the name of this move. A myriad of purples and reds, big sea of flowers.